Listeners, I'm back. The spinoff show is back. And on this episode, I have on a very, very lovely couple, Kate and Patrick Thiem. They are the hosts and the producers of Earful, a Disney World podcast. So as you can imagine, we talk a lot about Disney World in this episode. So if you're not into Disney World, if you're not into talking Disney, this isn't for you. But if you're into Disney, if you're into good conversation, if you're into a really lovely couple that has a lot of fun and clearly enjoys each other and just life, then this is a podcast for you, and you're going to check it out. This is the Jock Spinoff Show. Kate and Patrick, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up?
It's been a while.
It certainly has been quite a while.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing? First off, thanks for coming on.
We're so thrilled to be here. We can't believe you asked us.
Yeah, this is like our first podcast interview in, I don't know, a year and a half.
Easily, yeah.
Yes,
maybe.
what's been going on? Are you guys the last time I talked to you guys, I don't even remember what show I was on. It might have been See Here's the Thing.
Yeah,
actually, I think it was.
On, yeah.
Me and Imran came on, and before that, Kate was on our show, on Jock and Nerd.
Yeah, and then
what's been going on since?
Well, we got married, and everything went to hell.
Ah, man, shouldn't have done it.
It all went downhill.
You guys were already married, no? When I was on,
we got married in the fall of 2017.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't even know the date.
I think the podcast was still going on then. I think we talked about it on our show, but then, I mean, typical. What happens is just life gets in the way, and then you find less and less time for things like this, and it kind of like it's sort of a relief. I feel like
downer, man.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to bring this back. Trust me, stick with me.
Didn't expect this.
I hear the clicking sound of everybody turning this podcast off.
Nope.
And I hate podcasting.
Long story short, it ruined my life. No, I mean, there's so much work that goes into it outside of the actual speaking and the talking.
Yes, yeah.
The promoting.
Well, before you do that, let's explain to people. We had a podcast before. It was called See Here's the Thing.
I jumped right into the deep end.
You did. And then we did that, and it was a lot of fun. We did it to make each other laugh every week.
Yeah, and the Jock and the Nerd were like our first friends. Some of our first friends in the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if that tells you anything about how pathetic we are.
Oh, what does that say about us?
Right? You guys will take anybody
You befriended us. Hang on.
Well, then we ended up we stopped recording just because it became too much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I changed jobs and your job shifted, and then we just got really busy, and I started working part-time as a Disney travel agent, which is a whole other story.
Which we'll get to, I'm sure.
We're going to have to get into that.
And then we just kind of, we wanted it to always be fun. And it got to the point that we were too busy. And
it became work.
Yeah, it didn't feel fun. So we took a hiatus, which turned into like a year long. And now we're finally back into podcasting, partially due to that part-time job as a Disney travel agent.
Well, and the base of everything with our podcasting was making each other laugh, which is what the whole reason. I don't really give a crap if anybody listens to it. I just want to make Kate laugh.
Which he stopped doing after.
Damn.
I found him to be no longer funny.
This podcast isn't funny anymore.
We need to stop.
So wait a minute. So far, we've talked about how we quit podcasting, how you're not funny anymore.
Yeah, you're not funny anymore. You stopped making her laugh.
Yep.
You fell on podcasting to actually be a burden. We're off to a rockin' start here.
Well, and thanks for listening, everybody. Good night.
It's been the shortest spin-off show ever.
Yes. But yeah, continue. So you guys
man.
So you guys have now gotten back into podcasting.
We have, and as an add-on to this whole travel agent business, which is a side hustle for me and something that grew out of helping a local high school plan a trip to Florida, and it was fun. It was easy. I did partially with Patrick, which was odd because he not funny at all. And and then we got to like my year anniversary, and I went, I want to do something else to attract other clients. You know, we have all this podcasting equipment still.
Yes.
The person that gave it to us didn't take it back.
Yeah.
Let's do something like we love looking up stuff on Disney World, and we love talking about it. Let's do something fun. And if no one listens to it, I don't care, because it's just for fun. It'll be a half an hour format, way easier than just talking forever and ever. And we swore it would be a short show, so the editing wouldn't take very long.
As it turns out, we both like to talk.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Well, this is fantastic for my show, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. So that show, it's called Earful, a Disney World podcast.
Right.
And
Wow.
it's been out for, let's see, June 4th we debuted. And so it's been like a month and a
9
half.
episodes
Month and a half.
in the can.
In the can.
What's the concept of the show?
It's just a short 30-minute digest of news clips that surround the parks for Disney World, not Disneyland. Let's get that straight. Number
Disney
one.
World out in Florida.
Correct.
Yes.
Very good. That was a test.
Yeah.
You passed.
That's the one Disney venue that I've been to. I've never been to Disneyland. So
Yeah. And,
Well, I laugh at that because we talk about it being a half an hour, and I think one episode was 30
it might have
minutes.
been. We stuck to it.
And you've been over every time since.
Oh, heck yeah.
completely, yes.
So we do news clips, and then we also talk about either a topic that is helpful to potential clients for myself, or people that are needing help planning their trip, or just, I don't know, topics of the moment.
We also plug Kate's the fact that she's a Disney planner.
I don't know if you know this. I'm a travel agent. I get so much free stuff.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Well,
tell the story. It's a great story.
I feel like Disney is so niche for some people. Like you either hate it, or you tolerate it, or you love it.
I mean, especially now with the fact that Disney just owns a lot of media. There's a lot of Disney is almost now a very polarizing thing.
Yeah,
I completely, 100% agree.
And like I don't feel like that was the case maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s. If you mentioned Disney, it was just smiles. But now it's like Disney. That's anger, evil.
Honestly, because of Bob Iger. Honestly, Bob Iger was the main reason for that.
The main driving force. Yeah, so it's tough for me to talk about it sometimes because I do love Disney World so much, and
Disney World's fantastic. I've been there twice. It's out of the
same love that people have for comic books, people have for Marvel, people have for superheroes, like that intense like love of a fandom, but just in a different way.
Well, and there's history. So if you really are a fan of Disney World and Walt Disney, the history of the parks and the history of how everything has come to be to this point is really fascinating.
Yeah.
I would love to get into that.
It's really fascinating. There's a lot of books and a lot of media, and there's a podcast that we listen to that's just fantastic with the history of it.
I mean, we're so total noobs when it comes to
completely noobs.
Being a Disney World podcast. When you listen to some people that have been around the park for 30, 40 years and just know the lore and how it came about and the transitions of rides and why attractions come about, it's like, oh my God, we know nothing.
Anthony, seriously, my job is to try to make Kate laugh every week. I really don't care about the rest of it.
Well, that's no different from our last podcast. Same thing.
Jeez.
Wow.
Except you're trying to stick to a half hour, which you've done once, and you're trying to stick to Disney stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know us from before. Our format of our show was just we'd riff. We start like with one topic and then we improvise and we make up characters, which we've already done with this show. And
I remember the Pat's characters, his voices.
I
remember
could you forget?
that.
Patrick, why don't you on Anthony's show bring back one of those characters? You know, the very famous celebrity impersonations you used to do.
I've got a whole treasure trove.
Ready?
I don't know.
I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Harrison Ford, go.
Get off my plane.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got.
Morgan Freeman, go.
Get off my plane.
When was Morgan Freeman on a plane?
When did he say that?
I don't remember.
When in Shawshank were they on a plane?
That was actually a tunnel of shit, but similar yet different.
Andy.
And that was the longest night of his life.
No, but this time we have Bob Disney, which is what we've come up with. Bob Disney.
Disney.
You remember how there was that? We said I didn't want to get into politics, but here we are. Because Trump called Bob Iger. No. He called Tim Cook Tim Apple.
Tim Apple. Yes.
Tim Apple. Yes.
So we're like, if Trump met Bob Iger, he'd call him Bob Disney.
Correct.
Right.
Which is how this Bob Disney character came about. And so Bob Disney is someone that wants to see a lot more safety
He's all
regulations
concerned about
brought
the
to the
safety.
park.
He makes $65 million a year, and he's just concerned about safety. That's it.
Safety, yes.
He wants a lot more railings put up around the parks.
There's some railings missing over there. Please be careful.
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
we had a whole podcast about the fact that Disney was starting this Skyliner.
The gondolas.
The gondolas.
Okay.
And Kate reported that there was going to be boats that were going to act as safety. So if people were stuck.
The sky ride is like what you would imagine, like going up a skiing hill,
Right.
but it's not going up an actual incline. It's just across the parks, and it goes over water several times.
Right.
And you're thinking, like, well, what's going to happen if something breaks down? If people have a heart attack in the car?
They have boats.
They have rescue boats.
So my question was, well, what do they say? Jump! They must tell you to just jump out of the gondola.
That's a Bob Disney
So that's a Bob Disney thing.
trademark thing.
That's right. Jump!
We have a lot more ideas for Bob Disney on the show.
Yeah, Bob Disney's going to be a bigger character coming up.
Yeah. So
What's going on?
that got quite away from where the real question was. I was hoping he wouldn't come out tonight. But he did.
I'm very proud of Bob Disney.
Are you guys, by the way, are you guys in Florida?
No.
Oh, that's
No,
the best
wow.
part.
That's the best
We
part.
are as far away from Florida as you can be.
Where are you guys at?
Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
So if you know
just
where Lake,
like Orlando, Florida.
Exactly.
If you know where Lake Erie is, we sit on it.
Yeah.
No, we literally go and sit. That's all we do here.
Literally sit on it.
All there is to do here. No,
Yeah.
it's like the land of 1,000 snows. We got, what was it,
7
2
feet.
years ago? We got 7 feet over.
Between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in Chicago, so I'm
Yeah.
not.
Oh yeah, sure you know.
We get a lot of snow too.
You know.
We get a lot of snow.
It's not a competition, Anthony.
We'd win. That's all
We'd win. That's what it was.
This is great. This is. I think the entire show will just be laughing the entire time. Not really talking about anything, just laughing.
Yeah.
So wait, you're a Disney planner.
Okay, let's get back. Pull
Circle
it back.
around.
How often have you?
around.
Wait. Let's add some credibility to you.
Okay.
Oh, do
How
that.
often have you been down to Disney World?
Oh, good.
Good question.
Yeah.
I would love to answer that. We were just there in June for
Okay.
about a week, and then prior to that,
Vacation or work or both?
Both.
well, it's a little bit. I mean,
It was recon. We did recon.
we did recon, and
It was vacation.
It's a vacation. Yeah,
Did you go to all 4 big theme parks?
Of course we did.
Of course you did.
Of course, as any good travel planner would. Come on. No, we did. And I mean, we, as a travel planner, once you hit like a certain level of commission, you get discounts. So that's nice because Disney is extremely expensive. So
very expensive.
you know, we didn't feel too bad this time, like saying, yeah, let's just go down there because we used a discount. So
Nice.
we do. And then it makes me more knowledgeable on like when clients have questions about where they should dine, where they should stay. I can actually say, yes, I've been there, or the rooms look like this and the layout is this. And because what I do is I get a client's information where they want to go on the Disney property. And then I basically send them a quote, which is usually a package deal with hotel tickets and dining. And then from there, we just kind of go back and forth on what they want. And then after they book, it's I will then book for them their fast passes, their dining experiences, any kind of transportation things, which is nice because the cost to them is zero. My
that is
services
really
are
nice.
free. We are paid through Disney via commission, and the client never pays a single cent extra.
and
That's
I'm
pretty
Patrick.
And this is Patrick.
And I'm Patrick.
Patrick, you can sit over there. Maybe think about your next voice. I'm going to talk to Kate now.
You go right ahead.
The adults are talking.
Oh.
I mean, if I'm looking at Disney World's website right now, and if I'd never, well, even now,
Get
if I
off
were ever
that
to go
website.
down,
Don't break it. It breaks all the time.
It breaks all the time.
does it really?
It does. It breaks all the time. Every time that there's a discount they release,
Yeah.
it's literally down for 2 or 3 hours.
That doesn't seem like a company that owns the world should have something
I
like those kind
agree.
of problems.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've been down to Disney, but if I'd never been there, or even, like I said, even going now, I wouldn't know where to begin. Like, where do people, it seems kind of overwhelming
It
going
is.
to Disney World.
I
With all the
luckily,
parks and all the places.
yeah, I luckily, the first time I went, which was when I was 29, which was like 5 years ago.
That was the first time you went?
Yeah. My parents growing up said to me, we're going to wait until you're old enough to remember.
29.
And
We're not there yet.
I had to take
You know what? 28. Still, your memory's still forming. That frontal lobe is still not fully developed yet.
I had to take myself with my friend, and then ever since then, it's like, oh man, this is so much fun to plan. And you're right, there's so much planning that goes into it. People don't realize this when they go down there.
Yeah.
They just think like we're gonna go to the park and ride whatever ride we ride. There's so much more to it.
Well, so to continue, Kate ended up. My daughters were on a senior trip. My oldest was a senior. My youngest was a sophomore.
Okay.
And it was a trip to Disney. And the person
Did you say
that was
daughters?
my daughters.
You just said your oldest. That could have been pigs. Could have been cats.
No,
ducks.
I said daughters.
Okay, I didn't hear that. Okay.
So Kate ended up planning the trip for them. And then after that whole trip happened, kind of we sat down and she was like, I can do this. I can totally do this for a living. We reached out to a number of companies.
Yeah.
And Kate settled with.
The Vacationeer
Right.
travel agency.
Right.
For
And they're
all your
affiliated
Disney
with
needs.
Disney?
They are, yeah.
Well,
so,
okay.
They're
Yeah.
affiliated with a lot of things.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
actually, I can also book for you. Cue
Yes.
snappy travel agent music. I can book for you or Universal Orlando.
Okay.
I can also do Disney Cruise Line.
Oh.
I can do SeaWorld Busch Gardens.
If you had to, you could do New York.
Could
Ooh,
do
SeaWorld. I don't know.
can do.
SeaWorld at this point seems like...
We actually just were there.
It's
Was it-
awesome.
is it
SeaWorld was
awesome?
awesome.
Awesome
Well, I
with
just
an
watched-
asterisk.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just watched... and it's it's in the dated document. I mean, it's been out for 5 years, but yeah, I watched that. I was like, oh, man. And I listened to a lot of Joe Rogan stuff, and he has on environmental people that are very anti-SeaWorld.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a fun story about that in a second. We'll
Oh,
share
yeah.
because that was a trip that day. But yeah. So what was the question? Oh yeah. So
No.
it's
Oh,
overwhelming.
no, you were just promoting yourself, actually. There was no
let's get back to
question.
that. Let's get back to that.
Go ahead.
So yeah. So I interviewed with a company and said what I had experience in, which was one trip basically, and then planning our own trips.
I was down there when I was 29. I remember everything.
I'm
I
good.
swear.
I got it all.
Yeah, I can remember. Well, that's the thing though, is that once you're down there, for me, I remember like where things are, but like you just said, people don't know that, and it's a humongous property.
Well,
Huge.
but we were also amazed at the number of people that traveled down to Walt Disney World without knowledge of fast passes, without knowledge of dining. They just go.
They just go. They have no idea. And
What do you mean?
that's-
What the dining, as in certain spots to go
are
to?
you ready? Like this
I'm
is
gonna go get a drink.
this is probably stimulating to your listeners.
I love it because I remember I've been down to Disney World twice. I remember the fast passes. I remember going to all the theme parks and just being obsessed with everything. But yeah,
okay, as
so
long
this
as
is
you're with
interesting
me
for
on this, then my enthusiasm will not subside.
Once you said you guys were doing Disney stuff, I was like, I'm going to get you back on. Before that, I
Hell
was
yeah,
like,
okay.
I was like, oh, you guys are doing all this other stuff. That's not cool. Disney? Oh, okay, let's talk
okay.
You
Disney.
guys got married? No, let's not have them on. Disney? Heck yeah.
Yes, Disney.
Yeah. Okay. So let's break it down for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Patrick.
I'm so sorry, Patrick.
I know.
One of the first things people need to think about when they go, obviously, is dining, which if you stay on property, your dining window will open 6 months before you arrive. That's 180 days prior to your trip.
As in, like, to set reservations?
Yes. So literally on the website, 6 a.m. that day, that window, you can book all of your reservations for your trip.
Oh, wow.
For dining. Many restaurants will quote unquote sell out that first morning so that you cannot get a reservation. And whether or not the food is good is kind of secondary. It's the hype surrounding restaurants.
Because they're all, I mean, everything's so themed and it's an experience in and of itself, yeah.
Exactly. So that's one thing. The second thing is fast passes, which are what reservations that you can get to go on rides quicker, to get out of the standby line.
Yeah,
those
everyone
open
should
up.
have a fast pass.
Oh, yeah, it's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Those open 60 days out if you're staying on property. If you're not, it's 30.
So let me just interject on the fast pass. The last time I went was, man, 15 years ago. No, maybe even longer, 17 years ago. But both of I went then, and I went maybe 2 or 3 years before that. Both of those times they had fast passes, but they were literally like these little machines.
They're paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you would go up and you'd be like, okay, let me get 5 fast passes. And then they'd print out the time and be like, okay, come back. It's 3:00. Come back at 3:45 to the fast pass line. And it worked like a charm.
I remember that.
In many ways, that was a simpler, easier time. But now
it seems like it.
Oh my God! Now you get 3. You get 3 to start, and then you can keep making them after you're done, and it's all linked via this magic band that you wear on your wrist, which, to people that know Disney, saying the word magic band is not so, it's like vernacular, but
otherwise it
people
sounds
that
like
don't know, it's
the
like,
mark of the
you
beast.
get a magic band.
And a
Sounds
rabbit
so
pops out of
weird.
your wrist. Yes.
Yeah. But now it like unlocks your hotel room. You can charge things on it to your room. There's so much that it does. It keeps track of the pictures that you take in the park. It's very big,
It actually
big
tracks
brother-y.
you. So there are rides that you will go on, and because of your band, the photo will be sent to you without your knowledge.
Yeah. It's pretty scary.
Yeah,
that is kind of scary.
And if you lose a child or a childlike adult, you can track him.
When you lost Patrick, when he was in the Epcot ball, just staring at it.
He just gets mesmerized by that thing.
It's very simple. Very simple things that grab my attention.
Absolutely. So let's see. Dining, fast passes.
Do a lot of people that go to Disney stay on the property?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We never did that.
90% of the people I work with do that. And then I would say 90% of the people I work with also have me book all of what I just talked about.
Well, and if they stay on property, one of the benefits of staying on property is the whole dining package.
They can get that if they do hotel and tickets,
right?
Which it's basically like a credits-based system where you get a certain number of food credits per day per person. And instead of having to worry about like, oh my God, it's this much money. Oh, I have a food credit. I'll use that for this. And
Got it.
I mean, it is expensive, but food is expensive at Disney. So I always am a big fan of
really
it.
expensive.
Oh my God, it's expensive.
Oh yeah.
So there's that.
I mean, everything is. Nothing is cheap at Disney.
No.
Nope.
On
just
purpose.
The reusable shopping bags. They're pretty cheap.
Those are pretty cheap.
They're
They
like
went up
$2
$1 this year. Yeah.
All we can afford for souvenirs was the reusable shopping bags.
Yeah.
I remember when being at Disney and then being like in my career after, hearing about how their customer service is just so over the top, like fantastic.
It is.
Well, I'll tell you,
Their training, like on site, like everyone just is on all the time. Go ahead,
they
Patrick.
have made an art of customer service. And I don't mean that from the way that people talk to you. I mean from how they handle trash recycling, how they handle lines, how they deal with people. They are masters at it.
It's unbelievable.
We were talking about the one ride that we watched was the Slinky Dog Dash. And it's a brand new ride in Disney World. And in the morning, the line was, I think it was 80 minutes. 80 or 90 minutes.
Hour and a half.
But they positioned the people in the lines so that the line looked like it was almost out of the park. So in other words, they didn't open the gates that allowed people to wind through. Mm-hmm. They let people line up so that the line was going through the park. So when you walked in,
you were like, nope, not going to wait in line.
Right. You stood there and looked at this line and went, oh my gosh, look how long the line is. But it was only 80 minutes. 2 hours later, the line was 120 minutes. But it was all contained inside the line.
Yeah, it was the same length of line because they had opened up those gates that
Yeah.
make it look less crowded.
They're masters at handling people.
Yeah.
Absolute masters.
They have codes that they'll say over their walkie-talkies, like if there's an irate park guest, there's a special code for that. So they don't actually say like someone throwing a hissy fit. Like this week at Disney, there was a news article of a cast member getting punched in the face
Oh, what the hell?
because someone
this is
didn't have a
great.
fast pass at Tower of Terror.
Right.
Which is
my
like...
God.
But you have to tell the story. The
Okay.
story's great.
So the person with their family got to this ride and they were told you don't have a fast pass, and so they started to get really irate, and to the point of where they started pushing buttons on the cast members' control panel.
Oh, God.
I have no idea what they can activate. Probably bombs somewhere. I have no idea.
Right.
But the cast member like pushed their hand away, like to say, "Don't do that," and then she got punched in the face.
The cast member
the
got
fuck?
slugged in the face.
And so they left. Security found them, and then they were escorted out. And the person that punched her, it has now a lifetime ban on Disney.
The cast member who was punched has refused charges.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell?
No arrests were made.
Right?
Wow.
But
Yeah.
Well,
now they're in
that's
Disney
a better
jail.
person than me.
Yeah,
that-
right?
I said the same thing. I've been like, lock this person up.
I'm
mean,
surprised nobody at Disney park goers jumped to help them, because people that love Disney would probably defend cast members to the death.
Oh, yeah.
But I think people just get afraid of those crazies that are there, because there are some very special people that go to these parks.
Heck yes.
I mean, you're dealing with people, so you're going to have literally everyone
and
anyone.
as
can
we
get-
all
get in
know,
there. Yeah.
people suck.
People
People
suck.
in general, people suck.
Yeah,
Yes,
I agree.
People suck. Oh, we
People
love.
generally suck.
We love looking at Disney meltdowns.
That's our favorite thing.
Is that a thing? Wait, what?
God.
Yeah.
We want to have a Twitter account that just documents Disney meltdowns. Typically, it's children.
How could you melt down? Oh, children. Okay.
Children.
Totally children.
But sometimes it's adults.
Yeah.
It's the happiest place ever, though.
It's not.
And that's my line always. There's no crying at the happiest place ever.
Do you want to get to be a Jedi?
Yeah.
We always joke because I really want to do the Jedi training, but it's for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I start to have a meltdown, Patrick will be like, "Do you want to get to be a Jedi?"
Well, but that story, that story came from a real life event. We were on a bus and a child was going crazy, and the mother looked at the child and said, "Do you want to be a Jedi?" And we about lost our shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's like that's a threat Patrick will use against me now.
Yeah, that is a total threat I will use. Want to be a Jedi?
You want to be a
I'll be
Jedi?
good.
Want to be a Jedi King?
Which is
Pull
so
your
tough
shit.
because you're a parent there and you've paid thousands of dollars to bring your family and a kid is melting down. Normally, if you're at home at a restaurant, you just bring them home. You know,
Right.
you leave.
Yeah, it's
but
a lot
here,
of
Yeah,
money.
you don't leave.
oh my God, you miss
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah,
how do you
you're
punish
out
them?
you're out X amount of dollars for your whole family that day.
Disney would make a lot of money if they had like a child prison.
Oh my God!
You know what?
What have you just done?
You have sucked, and I have spent this amount of money, and I still want to enjoy the ride.
I
so
do.
you're going to jail for
Oh
the day.
God, that's brilliant.
Kid.
It means more to me to spend $50 on putting you in Disney jail than me
God,
actually dealing with you.
Brilliant.
And then you have a cast member that looks like Cruella DeVille just overseeing the jail, or just
my
like the
God.
warden or something like that.
I think Bob Disney's gonna have to say something about that.
Bob Disney's going
Bob.
to steal my idea. So copyrighted this. A Disney jail.
I still want to stay on Disney stuff. So,
Okay.
let me describe the 4 parks, and then you tell me if this is still accurate today.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Oh, this is good.
This is
Good.
I love
good,
this
good,
game.
Okay. But so when I went to Disney World, it was called MGM Studios. I guess now
Me
it's
too.
Hollywood Studios.
It is now called Hollywood Studios. Yes.
I was
and
there.
It's still basically Hollywood themed with movie stuff and
Well, not.
No?
I mean, yes and no. There are still the old Hollywood decorations and a lot of the theming is still around that.
yes.
That's coming down.
They
Really?
recently installed Toy Story Land. They're going to be opening Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars
Sure.
installation.
That's still movie stuff.
Yeah,
Well, the Chinese theater
is still there.
is still there, but it's being that whole area is being rethemed.
It's being renovated because they're putting a new ride in. They took out the old movie ride.
right.
The great movie ride is gone.
Oh, I remember that. Was it the ride where it was just a bunch of stunts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I
there was
remember
a
all
stunt
no.
show.
No, the stunt show. Yeah.
There was a stunt
Oh,
show.
that
There
was-
was a
that was a- I
backlot
was on that.
tour.
That's
Yeah,
no
that was
longer
what I went
there.
on.
That's gone.
All that's gone. They're going to put in one called Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway,
Which is supposed to be a trackless system.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
But they're getting away. Is it still going to be called Hollywood Studios?
yes,
Yes.
they just came out with a new logo for it, so it looks like it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, that name won't go.
but it's going to
okay.
be known as a Star Wars park
But
because
when I was
that's the big thing.
my first time
Yeah.
at Disney, it was MGM. I totally remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. And the logo was the water tower with the Mickey.
Correct.
That's gone.
That's
Correct.
been going
The
on for a
Earful
while.
Tower, which
Yes.
is
Yeah.
We found out after
our
we named our
namesake.
podcast.
Yeah,
Earful Tower.
So,
unfortunately.
okay, all right, we got that.
Yep.
Animal Kingdom. Obviously,
favorite.
Animal Kingdom that was the newest one
Yes.
when I was down there.
Mhm.
Correct.
Obviously, just about animals. I think they have the Avatar stuff too,
They
right?
do.
Actually, that was one of their newest areas. Was they included 2 rides that were themed around Avatar, in hopes that, of course, they would make the second movie.
Well, they're going to
They
make
are.
the second movie.
They
Yeah.
are. It's
Yeah.
already I think been partially filmed.
Cameron is saying he's going to make like 3 more. So
Well, that area is set up for them completely.
And
okay.
I have to say, when it was announced that they were going to bring Pandora there, it was kind of a, huh? Like why would you do that?
no
It
one
just-
cares about this movie
It's
anymore.
been done.
Exactly.
Yeah. But then you walk into the land and you're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
And it contains not just our opinion, many
Many
people's
people.
opinion, the best ride in Disney.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
It's called Flight of Passage.
Is that the? Oh, is it the one where you pretend like you're riding those giant?
Banshee.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I mean, the whole land, number one, is just spectacularly themed. You walk around, and the really neat thing is at nighttime it completely changes.
Yeah.
Like in the movie, when the bioluminescence of the night happens.
Ooh,
Do you like that word?
do.
Bioluminescence.
Yeah, that's a great word.
Say it slower. Bioluminescence.
We'll be right back after a 30-second break.
Photosynthesis.
You're losing me.
Okay.
Wait,
Chlorophyll.
one thing on the night stuff, because we'll get back to the parks, but I was looking at so if you buy a theme park ticket
Yes.
That doesn't include. There's a separate thing here for Disney After Hours.
Yes. So
that's separate.
Mm-hmm, that's like special times at night they set aside for people that buy these tickets, and the big deal about it is that the wait times are super short for these rides.
Oh.
That's basically it. Like there are other nighttime events that are themed, like Mickey's Christmas party, Mickey's Halloween party. Those are a little bit different because they offer more. But these nighttime events you're talking about just basically like give you access to the park with a very minimal crowd.
So if you have the day pass, they kick you out at a certain point.
Yeah, it's in a very like gentle way.
Because I'd be like, I thought I could be here all day and night.
Yeah.
Which is why people get upset.
Yeah.
And I've had, clients
Meltdowns.
that have had, like hissy fits because, not hissy fits, but they're like, I didn't understand this. I'm like, well, they post their hours. They post their hours well in advance so that you can see what days you might want to go to Magic Kingdom, because avoid it on this day. There's an event after hours or in the morning. They have that too.
Right.
Wow.
For
Okay.
the really dedicated people that want to get up and do that. But that's an issue, is you have to watch the hours.
Got it. Okay.
Now,
All right,
before you
go
leave
ahead.
the Animal Kingdom,
Okay, we're staying on the Animal Kingdom.
It's our favorite park.
Do they still have a lot of animals there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They have a
Do
whole
they still do the safari tour?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Is the Bug's Life, now this is how I'm dating it, is a Bug Life still inside the tree?
It
Oh, yeah.
is. And actually,
It is,
they're talking
really?
they're talking about retheming that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
as of right now, it is still there.
It needs to go. in my
Yeah, that's
opinion.
that's from when I was.
Honestly, that's been around forever.
And
Okay.
they used to have the characters from Bug's Life, I believe, as meet and greets, but that's not
No,
happening
they
anymore.
don't do that anymore. But the other ride that we love is Everest.
Mm-hmm.
It's really one of the only roller coaster-y rides.
When did that come out?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I think they were building that when I was there, or it might have been.
2000? Hang on.
Yeah, it might have been.
Patrick will
Either
fact check you.
they might have been building that or some sort of like abominable snowman ride.
That's the ride. Yeah,
That's the ride,
That's
okay.
the ride, and that's
Yeah,
gone
they-
through
that-
a couple of different changes because of the foundation being unsturdy,
Oh,
which is fun fact.
yeah, because
That's-
Disney's built on swamps, right?
The whole thing is.
Yeah, there he's got it. That's like our favorite ride in that park. Well, outside of Flight of Passage, but they're two different things, I think.
The attraction was announced in April of 2003, and it looks like it opened for previews in 2006.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah,
relatively
I was probably down there around 2004 or 2000. Yeah, 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And I was down there again in like 99, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Animal Kingdom opened in 99. Might have been 96.
Yeah, it was relatively
Something
new when
like that.
it was amazing. I mean, it's I'm sure it's still amazing. Yeah. What kind of
We probably should fact
travel
check
agent are
ourselves.
you?
I'm pretty sure it was 96.
Okay, Epcot. So Epcot's the second most popular, right? Or
Well,
is
it
that-
all depends. It's all.
Well, it
it's all
depends. Oh, it's the second
You could
oldest. Let's go with
talk
that.
to five
Yes.
different people,
Yeah, you're
and
right,
you'd have
you're right.
5 different answers on which park's the best and who has the favorite park. So Epcot
We'll get to
right
that.
now, yeah, Epcot's kind of going through a renaissance right now because it is very dated, and you could easily do the park in half a day. If you want to drink around the world, though, I had an addendum. Hang on. If you want to drink around the world, that's a different story. Then you're going to want to devote a whole day to that.
Is it still split up into tech futurism on one side and then the world on the other around the big like lagoon?
Yes.
Yes, but the whole tech side is being redone.
Yeah,
So-
the tech side seed dated when I was there.
Yes, exactly.
So dated. It's so
Exactly.
dated. Like
You would go inside that giant Epcot ball and it'd be like these like stiff moving like mannequin type
on.
robots.
I
I don't
love
know
that.
if that's still
Still
there.
there.
I love
Still
it.
there.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
they tell you like the history of the world and how communication has advanced, and Judi Dench
Yeah.
narrates it,
Yeah.
and you can smell Rome burning. I love that part. I do.
Oh, she's
So
such a
they're
nerd.
renovating because the world part seems like that's a no brainer. You stick with that forever.
Well, the world part has gone under a lot of renovations over the years, and there's rumors of them adding another world to the World Showcase, and there's room for 1 or 2 more worlds.
The countries you mean, or
Yeah.
okay.
So there's been rumors floating for years about Brazil.
yeah.
Or,
Oh, absolutely. You gotta
Yeah.
bring Brazil into that.
but then
That'd be so much fun.
I'll play soccer.
Well, then some of the some of the worlds, the existing worlds, have gone over a lot of modifications. Mexico had a whole new theming after Coco came out. France is getting a whole new ride based off of Ratatouille, which
Okay.
I just
And
can't.
food.
I can't wait for that.
Because food and booze are two of our favorite things in Disney parks.
Yeah. And then the American Pavilion is going to see a huge renovation.
Yeah, they're
as
getting
well.
a really nice like beer and barbecue place.
Nice.
They're going to tear down the turkey leg.
No, I mean the quick service is going, but the turkey leg will stay.
I feel like
that's
Epcot's
never going
where
away.
where the adults get to hang out and get drunk.
Exactly. Exactly.
Partially because Epcot is connected to the boardwalk, which is a really popular place for after hours. There's a dance hall, there's a piano bar, there's a brewery right there. So like, you know, people, like we were talking about, people get this idea of Disney of, oh my God, it's just kids everywhere. It's actually very adult friendly now, especially Disney Springs, which is the former downtown Disney area. They've totally rethemed it. I get excited and I get ahead of myself. I'm not going to apologize for being
I remember Disney being the downtown Disney. I never actually went because I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that that's
shopping and
gone.
boring. But we'll get there.
Okay.
No,
Okay, we'll get
Epcot,
there.
you're right. Epcot is still divided.
Rein myself back in.
The World Showcase is still the World Showcase, but the other part of it is going to get a Galaxy's Edge. Not Galaxy's Edge. The
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Thank you, Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Yeah, which is a good tie-in to your show.
Yeah, are you guys seeing? Is the Marvel stuff starting to come in?
That's why, like, it. As I said before, it's the same thing as any other fandom. You just get so into it, and now that they're including Marvel, it makes me really excited. But there are strict stipulations on what they can and cannot include.
Right, and I'm hoping I wanted you to talk about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's sad because I've seen what they've done with some of the newer rides at Disney, and you think, oh my God, I wish they could tackle Marvel here.
Right.
There is a rule though that they are in Disney World. They are not allowed to touch anything that Universal has
East of the Mississippi.
at Universal Orlando.
Right.
Oh,
Disneyland is a different story. So that's why you're seeing all these reports of a Marvel land coming to Disneyland.
oh, that's unfortunate.
That's going to happen. There's going to be a Spider-Man ride. I know Imram he loves Spider-Man. So
He's
there's gonna be
already-
Spider-Man.
He's already creamed his pants. And he didn't even listen to the show. And he's already sitting there like, what just
He's
happened?
like, whoa.
Whoa,
So-
I got to change my pants.
So
What's going on?
So east of the Mississippi, Universal has the Spider-Man ride. They have a lot of the Avengers rides. So
man.
Disney made the arrangement that they can keep those rides, but they can't modify them. They can't
Yeah.
tear them down and rebuild them.
They can
do-
update the tech, but they can't update the story,
Sure.
basically.
And if once those rides become done, Universal's done with them, and Disney can take them.
And so basically, like they have an awesome roller coaster that's totally modeled after the Hulk. And I think 2 years ago,
Yeah.
they did a complete overhaul on it.
Smartly.
The story changed ever so slightly, the narrative that they give you in the queue. But
This is at Universal.
This is at Universal. And it just made it a better ride. But they
ride's
didn't
phenomenal.
change anything to say like, oh, it's Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. It's nothing like that. So the complaint is that you have all these kids now that have grown up with the Marvel universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they're going to these parks, they're going to Universal and seeing the characters from when we were younger.
Yeah, when they're like old.
They don't
form.
know.
Yeah.
Right.
They're very dated. They have
It's
meet and
disappointing,
greets.
probably.
Tobey Maguire.
They have meet and greets with Tobey Maguire. He's really hard up for work. Yes, but they have meet and greets with Wolverine in the very traditional blue and yellow uniform. They have Captain America, but not the Captain America you know from the movies, and a couple of other people. And
Right.
so I think the hope is that they finally get to a point where they go, we can't keep dragging this on. We got to sell it, and that's the hope, is that they'll finally.
Yeah,
Sell
that's
it
what
back
Disney's
to Disney
trying to do.
and just go on
bleed
with their
them out.
other properties, because their Harry Potter property is so popular and
That's what I've
really
heard.
it really gave them a boost at a time where Universal was bad off.
They have the whole Nintendo thing that they're going to come out
Yeah.
with. There's a lot for Universal. They just need to let go of the Marvel.
I mean, they
stuff.
have Fast and the Furious. How can you go wrong?
Your family.
One of the worst rides I've ever been on.
Is it bad?
It's so bad.
terrible.
Well, I mean, are you a fan of the series?
I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I would say I enjoy the movies, but I don't intensely follow them.
You don't watch them for the Oscar nominations.
No. You
Right.
you watch them for ridiculous things to happen.
Exactly. So the ride is kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Except that the ride has built-in actual actors into the pre-show stuff, and they're just as bad as Vin Diesel's acting.
Oh no.
They're on par with his acting.
Yeah.
And it's not a tremendous ride. But anyway,
Anyways, Magic Kingdom.
Where were we at?
We were at Epcot.
Oldest,
we were at
right?
Epcot.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
We were at
very
Epcot.
cool. They have the Guardians at Epcot. They have a show.
Okay.
They have the Awesome Mix Live show where Star-Lord gets a band of
In
people.
Magic Kingdom?
No, Epcot.
Oh, no, he had moved on.
Oh, God.
Well, we can talk about that just real quick, though. That makes sense because I'm sure no one, Disney made the Guardians movies. No one knew what the hell they were, so I'm sure Universal never thought to make a Guardians thing. So
and at that point,
Disney was able to capitalize
Marvel.
on that.
Yeah, it
correct.
owned Marvel. So
You're absolutely correct, Anthony.
Yep.
So Magic Kingdom still has the giant castle, and then has all the different spots that's like Tomorrowland and Westernland, and is that still Spaceland or whatever?
Westworld and
Westworld.
No.
Westworld, yes.
Tomorrowland is getting an overhaul, which is so badly needed.
it's kind of like Epcot's future.
Is that
world.
where Space Mountain is?
Yes, and right next to Space Mountain, they're building the Tron coaster, which I am thrilled about as well.
It looks pretty cool.
Is Space Mountain still a ride?
It is. Still very popular.
Still popular.
Like
Okay.
90-minute wait normally.
Really?
But the whole theming of the area, and I said to Kate, oh my gosh, Tomorrowland just does not look like Tomorrowland. It's so old and so dated. And so they're finally tearing down some of the old signage, and they're finally rebuilding some new stuff and adding, I think Lilo and Stitch was still a ride.
That's still kind of there. There's a meet and greet, but even that's getting kind of phased out.
So yeah, that whole area is going to see some major, and of course everything that we're talking about with Disney is leading up to the anniversary.
2021.
Yeah, everything is leading up to 2021. So all this work that's happening is all in anticipation of 2021.
Okay. Is Magic Kingdom the biggest one?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
It's the biggest, but I don't know square footage wise if it's the biggest, but it is the most popular.
because we learned that Animal Kingdom has a ton of land
That's
that
not
is
used.
not being used yet.
It's all reserve lands.
So that's a good question. Look that up. We should know that.
You guys should know that. Write that down. You got to keep a running list of what you guys don't know
We
to
don't
answer.
know shit.
Oh my God. Don't book with me.
Okay,
So
so
Magic Kingdom is the oldest.
yes.
It was the original, and Walt Disney died, I think, a year or two before Magic Kingdom completely opened to the public. Epcot, Disney's vision for Epcot was not what Epcot turned out to be. And Disney would probably be upset with how Epcot turned out to be. Disney wanted Epcot to be the
land, like a livable land people
For the future.
could live in. But
they
really?
would never leave it. They live in this bubble.
do you know
You
what
wanted people
Epcot
there.
stands for?
I forget, what is it?
The Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So he wanted real people there.
He did.
He did, yeah.
He did. So Magic Kingdom is the oldest, and the castle is iconic. It uses
It's
forced
tremendous.
perspective to make people believe the castle is bigger than it really is. There was a lot of incredible Imagineering that came into that park, and just
Look at
walking.
you, Imagineering.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so proud of him right now. I'm a little turned on.
It'll be back in
Imagineering.
5
That's
seconds.
Disney right there. Jeez.
5 seconds.
5 seconds. Wow. That's,
2.
yeah.
So,
Ooh, there you go.
We're done.
So you
Okay.
walk down Main Street, and it just blows you. Your mind
Speaking
gets
of 2 seconds.
all right.
Okay.
Your mind just gets blown away just because of how iconic that whole walkway is.
Right.
But it does have some of the iconic rides. It's a Small World ride, the teacups, the Dumbo, the Peter Pan. These are all iconic rides that have just
Splash
survived the test
Mountain.
of time and are still there.
Is there still that dinosaur ride?
At Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And,
Yes,
that's an Animal
there
Kingdom. I'm
is.
sorry. Yeah.
And what's funny to me is that there's no, outside of a small, maybe 2-3 rides, there's no thrill rides in Disney. There's
Right.
no thrill rides in Magic Kingdom that you get off and your heart is pounding because it's such a thrill ride.
The teacups for you. Excuse me.
I would throw up completely. That's
That is a
another
thrill
story
ride for
altogether.
you.
Your blood pressure goes through the roof on that teacup
God.
ride.
Hell no. Hell no. But there's no so everything there is very family friendly and everything's very calm and relaxed. But there's just a lot of history there.
Yeah.
And so as a result, it's very busy. It's always
It's too
packed.
busy. There's so many. I mean, it is the familiest park
Yeah.
of the
Sure.
4.
That's what I remember it being.
There is no alcohol unless you go to a sit-down restaurant.
That's bullshit.
I agree. Whereas the other
Really?
parks have integrated alcohol completely.
Wait, so the other parks you can walk around with a drink.
Mm-hmm.
This one
Absolutely.
you can't unless you're dining in sit-down.
Unless it's a sit-down restaurant. So, like, there's quick service restaurants and table service. And table
Right.
service are the waitered. The quick service are fast food.
Right.
And other 3 parks, both of those types serve alcohol. In fact, on the Disney dining plan now, alcohol comes with it,
Oh, wow.
which is why we love
That's interesting.
Okay. I'm going to say something off the top of my head.
Say it.
This is just completely off the top of my
about
head.
this. We didn't clear
Yeah.
this.
Magic Kingdom was the first theme park to open in 1971, followed by Epcot in 82. I'm not reading this.
That sounds like
Disney
you're reading it.
Hollywood Studios in 89. I'm totally not reading this. And Animal Kingdom in 98. But
Okay.
71 was Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Because it was after.
Do,
it was
do they
after.
still do the parade at night and the fireworks?
Oh, yeah.
They still have fireworks. The electrical parade is no longer.
Oh.
Well,
It's not. They stopped
I
it.
understand, but there's still a parade twice a day.
There's
Okay.
a parade once a day at 3 o'clock.
It's twice a day, I
It's
thought.
once.
I don't know where I am. What's happening?
It's
what-
Festival
who
of
am I?
Fantasy at
God,
3
are we still
o'clock.
doing Disney
We're
podcasts? Holy crap.
This has been nice.
I mean, this has just been one long promo. I don't know, good or bad for you.
Adding
Disney.
publicity
We'll
is
have
good
no
publicity.
clue what they're talking about.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so 71 was Magic Kingdom. And some
Okay.
of the rides are still original.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They're some of my favorite ones, though. The
Yeah.
All
original
right, so
ones.
we've gone over the 4 parks. Now we got to get into opinion time from the Disney experts.
Oh, boy.
Well, let's call somebody.
Let's go.
No one's on the line. We're going to have to stick with you guys.
All right.
What's the
Imran's
best
still
one?
changing his pants, so let's go.
Imran's still changing his pants. What's the best one?
Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom? What about you, Pat?
I agree. Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom.
It is the most chill. It is the most covered. So if it's a really warm, sunny day,
Lot of
it has the
trees.
most trees.
What do you mean by chill? Like it's just a relaxed
It's just
atmosphere?
okay. If you go to Magic Kingdom and then go to Animal Kingdom, you'll know exactly what I mean. Because our Magic Kingdom is wall to wall
Busy.
people in
Busy, busy,
strollers,
busy, busy, busy.
scooters, children. And I'm not saying that all children are bad, but I'm just saying lots
There's
and
a lot
lots of
of them.
children.
Right.
Animal Kingdom, many people feel like is a half day park for what it offers, but it has excellent food. The food there is
yeah.
out of this world. They have great shows, some of my favorite rides, great alcohol, great margaritas,
Animals, too.
and that, which they're made better with alcohol. If you get a margarita, then do the safari. It's so much more fun.
Yeah, I've always thought it was amazing that Animal Kingdom had the best food.
They now give you a gun on the safari. Get your dinner.
What do you want for dinner?
I don't see the lions today. Oh no.
I've never had lion meat. Let me go with that.
There's so many giraffes. We have to have population control.
That's right.
Flamingo.
So Animal Kingdom,
Yeah.
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 best
by far.
vibe.
Time and time again. Well, this time it was really busy, but it's still my favorite.
Yeah.
Especially with Pandora, which really upped the game, I think, for Disney in terms of theming, the overall attention to how you can make someone feel like they're a part of a different world from the time you get in line to the time you leave.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. It's super chill. It just doesn't feel like you have to rush as much as the other parks.
That's the vibe. Even honestly, when I went, I felt like Magic Kingdom was almost too overwhelming with
It
all the
is.
stuff
Can be.
that it had to do.
It is.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
without
Yeah,
alcohol, you can't really handle
Oh.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I was 14, 15 years old, and prior to that, 11, 10.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about alcohol so much, but I'm sure my parents were like,
I wish I had a
kids,
beer.
slow down. I want a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, alcohol's relatively new now in Disney.
And I
so-
love
That's cool.
Hollywood
That's interesting.
Studios too, though.
Yeah?
Well,
Like,
Hollywood.
I love movies, so that park for me, when my first time I went there, I thought it was the coolest thing ever because all the movies I loved were coming to life right in front of me.
Yeah.
The issue with Hollywood Studios is that in the last 5-10 years, it has been going under this renovation.
Yeah.
So everything that you've known from when you went is gone, and so it's gone through. And I'm going to guess 5-6 years of majority of the park being shut down, unavailable. You can't get there, and as you walk somewhere, you're walking down the street, and there's a big wall. You can't get past it. So there's a lot of people that think Hollywood Studios is a waste of money just because so much of the park has been closed. And that's all changing. I mean, now that Star Wars Land is opening, now that Toy Story Land is opening, There's just they're almost worried now that Hollywood Studios will eclipse other parks.
Really?
Yeah, and they've put like projects into place for how they're going to handle the crowd sizes.
Well, and they've learned a lot from California as well.
They have, because the opening has been kind of lukewarm at best. But I think that's partially because a lot of the season pass holders have waited.
Correct.
Or have had to wait.
They've
had to wait. They've been blocked out. They haven't been allowed to come. So now that time has passed, they're starting to see an uptick in crowd size. But, I mean, for example, this is just a very small example. At Universal Studios in June, they opened a new coaster in the Harry Potter world that was themed under Hagrid's magical creatures. Opening day, there was a 10-hour wait.
What?
For that ride.
Who waits 10 hours for a ride?
Right.
Question number 1 is that. Question number 2 is how they dealt with it in the ensuing days. So it quickly got down to like 4 hours, and they had a virtual queue. So
we act like that's not a long time.
Right. 5 hours is no problem.
Well, when Pandora opened, they had similar issues, like 7-8 hour waits, and the line for the ride would snake through the entire park.
Yeah.
So they can't do that from a
That's
crowd
not a good
aspect.
look. Yeah.
You have
No.
an issue, something goes wrong, and you have all those people just in a huge line, you're going to have bigger issues.
Right.
So then they have a virtual queue system put in place where you go and like you sign up for a time to come back, kind of like a fast pass.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was maintenance issues, and they'd have to close the ride early, or they started opening the ride much, much later in the day because of maintenance. Mm-hmm. So something as small as that for one ride. Think about that now for an entire land of a park.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have people that have been Star Wars fans for a long, long time coming to see this land, not only for the rides, but the food and the atmosphere and the lightsaber building and the droid building.
Right.
And I
remember. So I had some coworkers that went out to Disneyland, and they went to that Galaxy's Edge, and it was like you get to go in this bar, but you only get to hang out for like 10 minutes.
Yep.
Or something like that, or some sort of like it was just a very allotted time.
Yep.
You can build a lightsaber, but it's $200.
Jesus Christ.
And a droid is $100. Yeah, it's
right?
expensive.
Yeah.
Look, here's my question. Since we're on Disneyland, why Disney World over Disneyland?
Well, Disneyland was
like why should people go to Disney World over
Disneyland? Well, Disneyland was the OG. It was the original.
It's the original
yes.
gangster.
It was the OG.
That is an original gangster. Yes.
Yeah, and it's
West
the iconic. The issue with Disneyland is that they ran out of room pretty quick.
They only have 2 theme parks, right?
Well, 2 is it 2 theme parks at Disneyland? I think so. Yeah, but they ran out of room, real estate, really fast, and so they've had to be very creative with how they have handled that the changes and everything else. Mm-hmm. Disney World is vast, to say the least. There's just an absolute,
it's overwhelming,
incredible amount of land.
And people have said that Disneyland, as the stereotype for California, is way more chill. Just the reservations needed aren't required there. Like you can book a table a month out and not have no problems.
Yeah. You don't book anything for Disneyland, right?
I can. But the process
is
so different. Like it's a different animal whatsoever. I mean, they have 3 hotels. Disney World has 25.
Holy crap!
They have 2 parks. Disney has 6 if you include the water parks.
Right.
And they do.
And they have a different system for Fast Pass. It's just not as big of a deal out there. So many people prefer that because it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
But you're also not getting Epcot.
No.
And you're also not getting Animal Kingdom.
No, you're getting the California Adventure and Disneyland.
Right.
Huh.
The original. OG.
The OG.
What are okay? So obviously, you go to Disney World. People expect to go to the parks and stuff. What are some things that you'd be like, I'd recommend you do this, and you wouldn't think of that first off by going to Disney World?
Well, first,
maybe something not in the parks, or maybe a hotel, or maybe the water parks, or I don't know what downtown Disney.
I'd recommend you'd book with me. Number 1.
Well, yes, I've actually made note of this. By the end of this, I will have decided if I'm going to book with you or not when I go to Disney.
Let's see. There's so many different ways you can approach this. Do you have anything else top of your head?
Well, on top of my head, it's downtown Disney. That for me, that's a game changer. That does not require a ticket.
Disney Springs.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
It's called Disney Springs.
I was expecting an apology. Good. Thank you.
I apologize for so much.
I need to get another beer now.
All right. Downtown Disney is filled with shopping. Disney Springs, whatever. It's filled with.
She is really getting a beer, is she?
Yeah, she really is. She left to get the opener, actually.
Yes.
And she's still talking up there. But they have gone through another, in the last 5-10 years, they've gone through a whole renovation down there where almost every single restaurant has had a complete wholesale change. And the dining alone, like I said to Kate the last time we were there, actually after we left, I said, I'm prepared the next time we come down to not spend the money on the parks necessarily, but spend the money on dining.
Oh, the food
Just because
Disney,
because downtown or Disney Springs, just because of Disney Springs dining.
It's so
really,
good.
it's that good.
It's so good.
Well, they have a lot of restaurants that are called signature restaurants, and those require 2 dining credits, or if you're paying out of pocket, you're going to expect $40 to $50 per entree.
A plate, yeah.
Yeah, or per meal. But the food is really good.
It's fantastic. Really Wolfgang Puck. What was it? Morimoto
Asia from Iron Chef.
Oh, wow.
Wolfgang Puck.
How oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I was going to say how, like, I don't even know. I'm trying to imagine all of this in my head. Is this like a street? Like, how do they set it up?
It's around a lake.
Yeah.
Around a lake? And is it like you can be there all night? Or like eventually do they kick you out?
They stay open I think most of the stores stay open until 2 a.m.
1 or 2 a.m.?
And
It's
they
free.
have
There's no
awesome
charge.
happy hours. They have, like he already said, the best food. It's really upscale shopping.
Yeah.
They have a movie theater in the middle of it. There's a bowling alley. The NBA experience just opened. What else? There's the Coca-Cola
Void.
store, the Void VR, which we did and was awesome.
So you could literally, like, you could be living in Orlando. Like, my night out tonight is I'm going to Disney Springs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have friends. We have a number of friends that live in Orlando.
Mickey and Minnie.
No, we don't know them very well, but they don't
say they remember. They don't know.
They
much
don't
about
talk
you either.
much.
No. Yeah.
No, but we have friends that live there. So when we go down there, it's okay. Hey, we're going to be in Disney Springs on this day, and they'll come and meet us because there's no charge to get in there. Parking is free. They come. We sit. We go to a bar. We have a couple drinks. It's just awesome. It's awesome.
It's a great vibe. Like, and
there's performances that go on there. A lot of
are children there?
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of things. There's a Lego store. There's a ginormous Disney store. There's a Rainforest Cafe and another one called T-Rex, which is really popular with kids.
Kids love the T-Rex restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Disney Springs is one of my favorite days because we will plan a day to do Disney Springs.
And there's nowhere to be. Yeah.
What is your for you guys? How long are you at Disney?
We usually
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. Oh, nice. I still haven't done everything. Nice.
We're on our last penny. We hope that you'll book with me because I need more money.
This was actually just a backdoor way to get me to spend some money with you.
There's
guys.
also a GoFundMe we'll talk about later.
It's kind of like being addicted to drugs because you need to sell it to buy it. No, we usually do a week.
Yeah. Oh, a week. Okay.
A week, and 5 of those days are spent at Disney parks. 1 is spent at Disney Springs or the pool or combination. And then the last one is usually Universal.
Or SeaWorld.
Or SeaWorld, which we have to get to our SeaWorld stories.
Yeah, but so 5 days at Disney parks, do you just do one water park? Is that what you're saying?
We've never done the water parks.
No, we'll actually take a day to do a hopper. So we'll just hop
do
from
park
park to park to park to park.
Oh, is that cool?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, because especially
it seems
now.
kind of tiring.
It can be. It can be. When we were there, it was 97 degrees with a real feel of 107 with the heat index. It was borderline miserable, but we got through it. But the park hopper lets you, for us, we love using it because we can do different dining at different parks. So like Magic Kingdom doesn't have a lot in terms of sit-down restaurants that we like.
Well, they do.
I'd rather go to Disney Springs, which we did. So we went to Chef Art Smith's Homecoming one night.
Yeah.
We did Morimoto Asia for lunch. I mean,
how long is it taking you though to get from doing the park
really
jumping
not bad.
from one? Not bad at all.
Not as bad as you think. The longest drive is if you're not in the Magic Kingdom area. If you're located in the southern region of Disney World, it can take 15 to 20 minutes.
The southern region.
The southern region.
Yeah, when I said there was a lot of land, I mean there was a lot of
If you're in the Shire of Disney, it takes quite a bit of time.
The southern region.
A long walk. Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so then you've hinted at the SeaWorld thing a couple times.
God.
We might as well just tackle this while it's out on the
Let's
table.
All right. So normally our trip consists of going to Universal and hanging out at Universal. With Hagrid's ride being what it was, we wanted to avoid it this summer.
Yeah.
So we made the decision.
Wait, what? I need context. What do you mean Hagrid's ride?
Okay, remember I said
being-
there was a ride that took 10-hour wait?
Yes,
We wanted to avoid that ride at Universal
got it.
at all costs because we'll come back in the fall. We'll do the Halloween Horror Nights,
and Universal.
which is so cool.
Yeah,
like
it's awesome.
we're huge fans of that now. They have a Stranger Things haunted house, and this year they're adding
Oh, wow.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Male or
So-
female Ghostbusters?
The male.
Oh, all right.
Oh.
Okay.
The one that we
As
do
it-
not
as it-
speak of.
As it should be.
As
Right?
it should be. Yes.
Listen, we
Send
got
all your hate mail
We
to
had
you.
a great
Yes.
a great song from Fall Out Boy on the Ghostbusters album. That was the contribution of that movie.
That was
movie.
it.
That was
I've actually
it.
never seen the movie. I just remember hearing all the
Good
outrage.
for you.
Anyway,
Okay.
How did Imran not review that one?
I don't think he had any interest in seeing the
Good
Ghostbusters.
for him. I'm proud
Yeah.
of him.
yeah. So anyway, so we were like, we're going to avoid Universal this time, but our friend, okay, how do I put this in the verbiage we're allowed to say?
Yeah.
He knows Cookie Monster.
At SeaWorld. He is a friend of Cookie Monsters in
Wait.
SeaWorld.
Cookie Monster, as in like
Sesame
the
Street.
Sesame Street. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought this was the name of like a
Nope.
orca or something.
We didn't explain this very well. Let's
No,
go back.
No. Too much. We'll sum up.
Wait. What's Cookie Monster doing at SeaWorld? Okay.
They-
continue.
Actually, SeaWorld owns the
They
rights
own
to,
something, yeah.
to Sesame Street. So all the
That's
Sesame
a very
Street.
strange connection. Okay.
Yes.
Ernie and Bert had a lot of debt. So
So they own Sesame Street. So a friend of ours is very good friends with Cookie Monster.
if you can read between the lines, he's so close with Cookie
Mm-hmm. All
Monster,
right.
you can't even tell them
I
apart.
think you got it.
Okay.
All right. So we ended up getting nice tickets, priced tickets to go to SeaWorld.
I get you a nice ticket, Bryce. I get you a nice
And we
price.
ended up, when we walked in the door, they were like, well, we have this deal where you could do all you can eat or all you can drink for $30-some.
$36 per person.
Yeah. After our discount because our Cookie Monster friend.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we were like, yes, all you can drink? Yes. Well,
What are the rules?
all you can drink, as it turns out, is one beverage an hour.
Oh.
So okay, that's not
All right.
bad. That's
Okay.
Well,
I guess.
I
I
was
guess that
pissed.
limits binge drinking. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pissed. I was like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we had our first beverage about 10 o'clock.
So hang on. So yeah, here's how this works. Our friends, this is 10 a.m. We'd already eaten breakfast, and they go into the first restaurant we found. They both have a plate full of Chinese food and an alcoholic drink and dessert at 10 a.m. and they finished the entire plate. Meanwhile, Patrick
But-
and I are like, we're okay for right now.
But when you sit down to eat, it's not a 5-minute thing. It's a 20, 30-minute thing. So by the time you're done eating, you look at your watch, we're like, we can go get another beverage.
We can get another
true.
meal now.
Yeah.
Right.
So we literally finished that meal at 10:20. At 11, we were in another restaurant, and by this time we were like, okay, fine, we'll play along. We'll get a meal.
At SeaWorld.
Yeah,
at
why
SeaWorld.
not? So
Okay.
we had like a full, nice big salad with beer and sat down, and that was meal 2 at 11:20.
Yeah. So long story short, we were in the can by like 5 o'clock at night. We had I don't know, like 6 beers or something stupid
Right.
like that. And we were done. Now, the nice thing about SeaWorld is because of your documentary.
Not mine. I didn't make it.
Thanks a
No,
lot.
you're right. I apologize. Because of the documentary,
Sure.
the attendance to the park is way down.
It's very
Yeah,
low.
I'd assume. Yeah.
Now, our friend of ours said to us, the documentary is fine, but it's a little unfair. He said, imagine you have a dog and someone gets a picture of you or a video of you accidentally stepping on your dog. And then they just play that video over and over and over and over and over again.
Sure.
And you go and try to buy a dog and they're like, no, you're abusive to dogs. So
Right.
it takes the worst moments and it shows the world those worst moments. So it's the
I would argue
document.
orcas are probably not meant to be in a giant tank, but
I know, and believe me, I am not defending SeaWorld.
no,
please,
I'm not.
please.
I'm not anti SeaWorld. I'm just
They
saying.
have the meal deal too. They get fed once every hour.
And
They
I
get
assume
fed once every
booze.
hour.
They probably
Yeah.
boost too. So, I mean, I think when all was said and done, we had a salad, we had a personal pan pizza, we had
Oh yeah.
some sort of hoagie, we had fish dinner, we
Yeah.
had barbecue spare ribs, and then on top of all of this, the one alcohol drink per hour, they have a free beer kiosk at SeaWorld.
That they will mark your hand with a blue ink that rubs right off.
It's convenient how that happened. It was very sweaty that day, and they X your hand like you've got your free beer from SeaWorld, and you just rub it right off, and you could literally go right back in line.
Do you think they're listening to this?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
Cookie Monster is.
Yeah.
But
Is SeaWorld, is it a bigger park as well, or is it?
What's funny to me right now is that you asked us about SeaWorld, and we just spent the last 10 minutes talking about food and beer.
Right.
Again, our priorities are in order.
I know exactly what you guys like now. This is great. It's actually made me really hungry. By the end of this podcast, I'm going to eat a lot more.
No, SeaWorld is actually, there's a lot to do.
It's really
a ton
big,
to do.
Okay.
They actually have some really decent thrill rides.
They have 3 awesome coasters. They have the Kraken, they have Manta. And Maku.
Yeah.
Which Manta you ride as if you're
tummy.
a manta ray, so you lie flat down.
Whoa.
Like with the harness on your back, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite was the one about the killer shark. Maku.
Yeah, I agree.
Maku.
Yeah. No, the roller coasters were top notch. They were fantastic.
And they had a water ride, which is pretty cool.
And no wait.
Yeah, there was
no wait because no one's there.
No one's there. No one's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, literally no one was there.
Yeah.
So.
And then
go ahead. No, go ahead.
They have a pretty stellar, I can't believe you forgot this, a pretty stellar Sesame Street parade.
They do. If you can call it stellar, yes.
Which you feel so bad for whoever are in those costumes.
At 100 degrees.
It was so hot.
Yeah.
Plus they're wearing fur
on
top of the costume. Oh my God, yeah.
Pat, you've really embraced this. What do you do for a living? It seems like you're also...
He's very close with Elmo.
That's not true. No, I actually work... Oh, dear God, help me. I work for a school district.
Don't say it.
No.
You don't have to say it. You don't have to name the school district.
No, I won't do that. I work for a school district in technology. I'm a computer guy, but I do professional development. I teach teachers and teach students how to use technology.
So you're both in education.
We are.
Yeah.
You're both podcasting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Pat's just on board. I mean, he's basically selling Disney with you as well. So you just do everything together.
Every week, I remind, my job is to remind Kate to plug herself.
Excuse me?
Wow.
Wow.
Did I just say that out loud?
First of all, follow up. I don't need a reminder. Secondly, thank you. Third.
How are you finding clients, Kate?
Well, I do work for a travel agency. It's called the Vacationeer, and they normally,
help out?
they send me 2 or 3 clients a day, depending on how busy the time of year is. Or if people reach out to me, I can also help them that way. And the difference is just like how much commission I get. If they supply a lead to me and they book, then I get a certain percentage. If I find the lead, I get a certain percentage.
I bet you probably get a little more if you find it.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. That is correct.
That is correct.
That is correct.
But again, no cost to anybody except Disney.
Except Disney, you just got to go.
Stick it to them.
What are people? What's like an average spend at Disney?
That's a great question.
Oh, this is a great question. I love these questions because I can spill the tea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, because I mean, this is important for planning. If for people that haven't ever been to Disney, you don't realize how much it's going to cost.
And people truly have no idea. They're like, our budget is $1,500 for 7 days and 7 people. And I'm like, you're not going to Disney.
Yeah, right? I mean, people probably expect what they're going to pay at like Six Flags for a day or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, the ticket prices are not bad.
No,
they're
the ticket price
not.
is not
They
bad.
incentivize the tickets. So if you stay there longer than 4 days, the 4 to 5 day money difference is very small. And then once you get to like 9 and 10 days, which I've had clients do that, it's like a $20 difference.
Yeah.
So might as well get a 10th day ticket because it's $20. So I will say on average, the average family probably spends anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow.
And that's I know. That's usually
awesome,
for
though.
like a 7-day trip with
Family like 4 probably.
four to 5 to 6, we'll say in there. It depends on how where you stay. If you're value resort, it brings the cost way down.
What do you mean by that? Value
There's
resort?
3 tiers. There's value,
Okay.
moderate, and deluxe. And as you would expect, the amenities get better as you go up the tiers.
Yeah.
So if you want a lot of space, quiet, good pools, good food, you go to deluxe. If you would like to save money, but you're going to be more crowded with families, you're going to be value.
Mm-hmm.
That's just your own preference. And I've had a little bit of everything. And I will say that I get people that just book tickets, and that's pretty affordable. I have people that just book hotel, and I also have people that are taking 4 parts of their family in 4 different rooms. Like I had one client, obviously I'm not going to name names, but they were yeah.
His name was Emron.
Bob.
His name was Emron.
Yeah, I can't fathom this myself. As we just said, we're in education, so our paychecks are not enormous. But I had a family, and they were so nice. Like the people, this is funny, but the people that spend a lot of money are usually so nice. They're easy to work with. Yeah, they totally are.
Yeah, you know what? That makes a lot. Actually, that because I work in sales, and the people that, I mean, it's not by rule, but the people that do spend a lot of money, a lot of times actually are easier to work with than the people that are like penny pinching because they just don't understand why things can be as expensive as they are.
Yeah, and that's not to say that people that don't spend money are terrible. Because
there's always
had clients that have been awesome, and I've had some that have been not as awesome. But when I say not as awesome, I kind of mean that they're a little needy. Like they ask a lot of questions.
Sure.
You're right. Okay, so that's like the worst case scenario. But
okay.
I had one client, and it was husband and wife, and they were bringing their daughter and her family along with another daughter and her family. So we're talking like 10 people here. And they wanted to stay at a deluxe resort. The first 2 were staying for 10 days. They wanted the 10-day ticket. They wanted the deluxe meal plan. So this is like top tier.
Yeah.
You probably could have upgraded to a better hotel room type, but they were basically at that already. And I would say for the lot of them, $30,000.
Oh my God.
For a 10-day trip, which half of the time, like the one daughter spent, and half the time the other daughter spent. So they weren't even there for the full 10. But, people like that, you tell them like, oh God, it's going to be this, and they don't bat an eye. It's like, okay,
really?
That's fine. A lot of them
sometimes it's scary to quote the price. You're like, oh, I don't know if they realize how much it's going to be. I don't know if they realize how much it's going to be, and then they don't. They're like, yep, sure.
Then they go to Costco or Sam's Club. Which is, I'm not lying. That's what they do because they do offer discounted tickets. Why did I mention that? Stupid me.
Don't do that.
Why did I
Why would you do that?
No, I mean, I can't fight a bargain. If someone can find a cheaper price than me, by all means, do it.
Absolutely, yeah, right.
That was an extreme case. I'm working with another client right now that is a very similar situation. Nothing. It's a huge family coming in, and that's what we do.
I remember when we went, we didn't. I'm not too familiar with the hotels because what we would do is we'd stay in Kissimmee and then just drive over. So we would just do the park stuff for the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can do that.
That's the way to do it.
You got to pay for parking, but
yeah, pay for parking. Oh yeah, you have to pay for parking.
You're a big spender. You can afford that.
Yeah, whatever. Parking,
$25 a day.
$25, 20, whatever.
Your podcast salary, no problem.
That's not even like right. Exactly. Let's get the Patreon up. Sure. Let's get it rolling.
So do you like doing this?
I do. It's easy. Like I've done it. I've visited the park so much that it's not work anymore. It's just, okay, you should do this, this, and this, and go eat here and maybe schedule this. It's just second nature now. So it is tough trying to negotiate like time with that and a full-time job.
One of the things I enjoy is when Kate will get a client who thinks that Kate has insider information and insider ticket prices.
I don't.
And will say things like, well, we went here and got a better price. All Kate does is go to the webpage.
Literally, if you go yourself to price your own vacation on Disney's website, you will get the exact same amount. I will price you. However, if they release a discount, I'll be the first one to tell you, and I'll be the first one to tell you I've saved you money.
Not only that, but you have the ability to do fast passes and do
I'll book your
dining.
fast
Yeah, I
passes
mean,
and all that.
you're a concierge basically for your Disney
exactly.
experience.
What a nice title.
So the one woman contacted Kate and said, your tickets are way more expensive. I got cheaper tickets. And I think in hopes that Kate would come back and go, oh, well, here's a better price for you.
Yeah, that is the one nice thing is that if you get that line, you're like, I literally can't do anything. So good on you.
Yeah, use those other prices.
Have a nice trip.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes it easier. So you're not like going back and forth. You're like, this is what it is.
Yep.
This isn't a negotiation or anything. We can negotiate some experiences out of here, or like a different hotel if you want, but.
Right, and that's the thing is, if you're worth your salt as an agent, you will know which hotels to avoid and which hotels to really promote, because you've either been there or you know that it's under construction and you should avoid it at all costs, or you know just that what the hotel offers is what they're looking for.
Well, and another great example of this is that there's a gondola system that's going up at Walt Disney World, but there's only a couple
4 or 5 hotels
that it will travel from.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
All stuff I know because I've seen it.
What's the... Here, let's promote the hotels real quick.
Okay.
I didn't even know this was going to be a full-on Disney commercial, but whatever.
I want to talk about
it.
some Marvel. Let's get into that soon.
We can get into that. Yeah, we can
Comic-Con.
ask me about that. But real quick, of the 3 levels, was it moderate, value,
and deluxe? Yeah.
What's your hotel recommendation for each level?
Ooh.
Okay. Value is Art of Animation, which is the newest value that Patrick's never been to. I was the first one I stayed at. It's a bigger value property with a very nice pool. The theming is very cute. It's themed around Little Mermaid, Finding Nemo, Cars, Lion King. It's a very nice value resort.
I'm actually going to stop you there because we can answer this a little bit easier. So the difference between the 3 of them, in my opinion, is that how much...
Right, he wants to know which one I like out of each.
I understand, but when we go to the parks, we don't spend time in the hotels.
Right.
We don't care about the pool, the hot tub. We want a place we can lay our head down at night and pick our head up in the morning. So we go for the cheapest.
Yeah, we're pretty frugal.
That's usually that's my Vegas experience.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
I don't really. I mean, as long as I'm on the Strip and it's not, the pipes aren't busted and there's not roaches.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine.
So
I'm there to rest my head, and that's about it.
That's a good follow-up. Like, while I'll say that this is my favorite value, we've stayed at almost all of them except for one, but it's going to be very similar. So we just need a bed, and the values will be more crowded. They are smaller. They are more compact. There is a food court for food, and that's about it. At some of these, all the values, there's a pool bar, and the rooms are small and what you'd expect. So that's the values, but we always stay almost always at values because it saves us a lot of money. Sure. Moderate, you're going to get bigger rooms, nicer rooms, more spread out, better dining, more bars. It's like, what? Okay, shut up. It's just something that I have to say. I just happen to know these things. Like, for example, Coronado is a conference center, so you get a lot of business travelers there.
Okay.
And I just stayed at Coronado last summer, and it was very nice. The food was really good, but I will say I kind of missed the smallness of a value. Everything being centrally located, this was way more spread out over a lake. And then deluxe, top of the line, usually very close to the parks in terms of distance and what they have to offer transportation-wise. Like, some of them offer ferry boats. The monorail comes into play. We've done Saratoga Springs, which was a really nice one, but so quiet, like way too quiet, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, not a lot going on. Great for when we had my parents there, but just not a ton happening.
Yeah.
I really want to stay at the Boardwalk. That's like my favorite because the Boardwalk has so much going on.
Is that moderate?
That's deluxe.
That's deluxe. Okay.
Yeah, and it has like the Boardwalk looks like Atlantic City Boardwalk. It has the ESPN Club. There's a Italian and seafood restaurant. There's a brewery. There are the piano bar, the dance club. There are people doing performers on the boardwalk at all times. There's cornhole. There's along with the pool, which all of them have pools. But it just, to me, it just, I don't know. That one calls to me. I would love to stay there. I haven't, but I'd love to.
Huh. I'm very intrigued by all this, to be honest with you.
Otherwise, this would be a bad podcast.
This would be. I mean, I don't know who else is going to be. I've enjoyed most of this, but you did mention you wanted to talk Marvel with me. I mean, this isn't just really an interview; it's a discussion. So you wanted to ask me something?
No, I just wanted to talk because, like, the Jock and Nerd fulfills my geek need of the week because I don't know. I feel like I've really come into my own the past couple of years with understanding that
Nice.
I love superheroes and I love geeky stuff. But,
Sure.
when you're young, it's such a bad thing because people make fun of passionate people, right? I feel like that's something
there's that phase. So it's cool to like. It was cool to like this stuff until you were about maybe 13.
Right. Seventh grade. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, 12, 13, and then it's like, oh, dude, you're
childish.
You're a child. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go watch a naked girl or something like
Yeah.
do something devious. And then I think once I got to college is when I was like finally coming into my own, and I was like, I can like this stuff again. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, it took me.
And plus, this culture now is really embraced. Like, it's so popular now that it doesn't matter what age you like this stuff at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's accepted. I mean, I remember being back in middle school and being afraid to say like I liked Star Wars because back then it was more of a girls don't like Star Wars or girls don't play video games, and it's like I liked both, and it just kind of was a quiet thing for a long, long time. And now that it's so accepted, it's like I'm super into.
So Kate finally came out of the
I
closet.
finally came out of my
I love
closet.
Star Wars.
I love it so much. Oh my God.
I play video games.
All these things. Yes. So when you guys did your episode on Comic-Con, I was following along on the Jock and Nerd fan page on Facebook with was it Blake? Blake was there?
Blake Braden from was live, I guess, Facebooking. Or just putting up whatever was happening, yeah.
We were with friends that night, and I was like, guys, stop. This guy's live streaming Comic-Con, because we all as a group go to see Marvel movies together, and I'm like, we have to tune into this because we've been ruminating over what's going to happen.
So we lost Kate for a number of hours.
I was no good to them. Every now and then, like, they'd be talking about something completely different, like our friend's baby, and I'd be like, they just announced Loki.
Loki's got a TV show.
All right. So Anthony, I'll start the ball rolling.
Yeah.
What do you think about everything that was announced at Comic-Con? How do you feel about all that?
Yes, I'd love to talk about that. I did mention we did talk about it on our show, so I'll plug for that show. But I feel like it was one of those things where everything got announced, and I wasn't like blown away. But I feel like it's impossible to be blown away because they're not really announcing anything with a bunch of characters that we've grown up with, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I got really excited thinking about it because I don't know what's going to happen, and these are all different characters that I don't really know all that much about. So for me, it was kind of like this is Marvel's experiment phase, and I'm along for the ride because I just enjoy all the Marvel movies.
All right, now go on. No, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, and what I really enjoyed was just how diverse and how interesting some of these people that are being casted are.
Yes, I agree.
Well, speaking of that, actually,
go ahead.
The first time I was on your show was when we found out Zendaya was Mary Jane.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about that. And I remember saying to you, like, I don't know, like, she's not the Mary Jane I had in my head. And you're like, give her a chance. Yeah. And I have to say, now I have the Zendaya effect because I loved her in all the Spider-Man movies. I think she's great. Mm-hmm. I don't really think she's playing Mary Jane, but I don't really care.
I agree.
I just enjoy her character.
I like the take on it. It's different, and she sells it. And now, ever since that, I've been like, man, whoever they cast, I'm on board for because she really changed my mind. So that was part thanks to you.
All right. Hey. So I'm going to be very honest with you, Anthony. And I'm not up to date with what's happening. I know little bits. I know here and there. Kate's kind of
I can help you out.
Well, but here's the one thing.
I'm no longer turned on.
Oh boy!
We'll get another beer.
Okay, hang on.
No. So the one thing that I heard that I don't understand, is Natalie Portman as Thor.
Yeah. So that was a relatively recent storyline in the comics where Jane Foster, who Natalie Portman plays, becomes Thor. I don't really know the exact details around it, but I know she had cancer in the storyline and becomes Thor, and when she becomes Thor, her cancer goes away.
You would know this if you had listened to the last episode of the Jock and Nerd podcast, Patrick.
It's okay. It's okay. But
she
so
can
that's
only
a thing.
fight the cancer while she's Thor.
So that's a big thing, and it was a pretty popular series. Popular in that comic book sales went up for a little bit, but comic book in general sales are pretty terrible. So popular for the niche audience that still reads comics. And Lady Thor, in terms of why they would do something like that. I think they just want to take the character in a different direction. They've made 3 Thor films. He's been in 6 Marvel movies as male Thor. And I think they just wanted this, like I said, this phase is kind of their experiment phase.
Okay.
So they're like, Natalie Portman is a good actress. We haven't really done much with her.
No, they stuck her with a needle. That's all they've done.
Yeah. So why don't we bring Taika Waititi back, who directed Thor Ragnarok, who a lot of people really liked, a movie that a lot of people really liked and really thought was kind of, off the wall and a little bit different than what you would expect out of a Marvel movie. And they're like, we're going to bring him back. We're going to do a Thor 4, but we're going to have Natalie Portman become Thor.
All right.
Why don't we just flip this on its head a little bit?
All right. So then, in your opinion, is Natalie Portman in a gym right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
She is. I don't think, but here's the thing. Like, I think she's probably in the gym, but as we've seen with Gal Gadot wasn't necessarily buff for Wonder Woman.
No.
And there's a lot of like stuff out now. I don't know how much you guys follow this, but there's a lot of stuff out now about like women don't need to be like buff to portray as a strong character.
Right.
So I don't think she's gonna get big. I mean, she's small in stature.
I don't know.
Even if she,
I read a couple things that said that she's going to get jacked for the role. Like a
Really?
couple news headlines saying that, those exact words.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'd be more surprised if she got jacked for the role. I would be like, I wouldn't. I'd be more expecting her to just be her, and just be her in the role, because there's a lot of just stuff out there about like you don't need to be big to be strong.
No, but you've seen her like at her tiniest for Black Swan, which was almost like startling how tiny she got. I would love to see what she can do. I think she'd look great.
I mean, it is interesting because the character she's frail and has cancer in the storyline, and then when she becomes Lady Thor, she's not jacked like Thor big, but like she's like a bigger girl now, and she's like looks more powerful. So maybe male actors transform their bodies all the time when they become superheroes. So maybe we'll see her become big.
Yeah,
that's true.
She's thick.
I'm not afraid to admit that, like, I have looked at.
Whoa.
No, okay,
Whoa.
hang on.
Oh,
well, go on.
That sounded bad. Let me rephrase. So like Gal Gadot's workout and Brie Larson's workout, and Alicia Vikander's workout for Tomb Raider. I've looked at those. Those are intense, and they're amazing, and they're great inspiration because, I mean, more and more women are starting to become okay with this idea that we can weightlift. Like, it's not a man's thing, and we're going to get in there and we're going to pull. Like, Brie Larson pulled a car, like, for God's sake, in her training, and
that's actually, it's funny you bring that up because I do CrossFit, so I have a lot of, like, women around me that obviously weightlift.
Oh, okay, that weightlift. Okay.
That weightlift around? No, not around me.
You're a stud.
That weightlift. But that's actually a big thing now. I follow a lot of females that work out, do CrossFit, other sorts of things, and they promote that a lot on social media. It's like, women can weightlift, women can eat. Like, you don't have to starve yourself.
Exactly.
You can eat a lot as long as you watch the times you eat or watch the portion control. You can still eat a lot. You can still weightlift. Like, that's all becoming much more prevalent now. So
I'm
that's a good
happy
point.
that's a thing because I teach young girls, some of who have like had discussions with me, like, how do you get abs? How do you get? I'm like, you don't need to worry about that. Like, just make sure that you are doing you. Like be healthy for you. Don't stop eating, please, because your body needs food. Okay, the idea that you shouldn't give your body nutrients and fuel is ridiculous. Like,
well, the good thing now is, like, if a girl, like someone like that asked. Like one of my coaches at the gym, she's female. If the girl asked her, "How do I get abs?" she would go, "You still need to eat.
Yeah,
and you'd work out. Like it wouldn't be like go on this diet where you're going to lose a bunch of weight. It'd be like let's just redistribute what you're eating. Okay. So let's have like more healthy fats. Let's cut out a little bit of the carbs. Let's do this. Let's do that. So yeah, that's all big things now.
Okay, so getting back to the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Everything that you have.
He's like, screw all this eating
back
stuff.
to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. Women. Yeah.
Women. Whatever.
Oh.
No. Actually, you can answer this anyway. I'm curious to know everything that you have seen come out of Comic-Con. What are you excited about?
So there's the two things I'm most excited for so far. One of them, I'm partially biased because I'm half Asian, I'm half Filipino. So Shang-Chi, for me, isn't a character I grew up with at all. Like, I don't really know that character. but just for the fact that a movie is being made with a superhero movie with a Chinese lead. I know that's not Filipino, but it's Asian.
Sure.
That for me is exciting.
Very cool.
Just because I've never seen anyone that looks like me, or I've barely seen anyone that looks like me on the big screen as a superhero. So that'd be kind of cool.
I know the second one.
You do know the second one, I think, unless I've changed my mind.
I share with you because I had the same reaction.
So my second one, did I say the Eternals?
No.
What did I say?
You said What If?
Oh, that was my most favorite animated. Not animated, most favorite TV show.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so TV show wise, What If? Do you know the concept of that, Pat?
I don't.
So it's going to be a animated Marvel show, but it's still in line. It's still in canon per se with everything else because they're going to bring back all the actors to do voice acting for it.
Cool.
And the whole concept is there's this character called the Watcher that literally in Marvel Universe just watches everything, doesn't do anything, just watches and documents everything.
Which I mentioned to you is the same guy from Westworld.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Jeffrey Wright.
Right.
So what he's going to do is each story is going to start out with, for instance, what if Captain America lost to the Red Skull? What would have happened then? And then just going to play out that storyline for that episode. Or what if
Red Skull would have dated Peggy?
Right. Something so it could be like, what if Thor was a frog?
A frog?
It could be. It could be all sorts of crazy things. But there's so many. It's literally like taking a storyline from Marvel and going, well, what if this happened instead? So it's just a alternate future reality sort of story where it's just they can have a ton of fun. So I'm really excited about that. But the movie that I'm most excited for is The Eternals. And the reason being is I don't know what the fuck's going to happen in that.
Right?
Yeah.
But I looked at the casting and I'm like,
it's stacked.
This is very interesting.
It's stacked, but in a weird way. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting, weird, very diverse casting. Salma Hayek is in it. Angelina Jolie.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Richard Madden from Game of Thrones. They have a deaf actress in this. It's going to be...
Oh, yeah. She was on Broadway.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really interesting casting here. And the Eternals, if I could describe it, is basically this wacky storyline from the 70s of these basically mythical godlike creatures that are at war with this other group of people called the Deviants, whose Thanos is actually related to. So they're these creatures that have lived in lore and inspired all these gods across human history, and they've lived for thousands of years. Other than that, I don't know what the story is going to be. But it's so interesting and off the wall that I'm on board. So those are the ones I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
And then what about villains? Well, what are we going to see villain? I mean, how do you beat Thanos? How do you top Thanos?
That's an interesting question. So I think this is called Phase 4 for Marvel, and I think Kevin Feige, who's the overlord of all of this, has said that they have a plan in place. Phase 4 is basically kind of like a resetting, so they're going to start introducing all these new characters. But I don't know who the big villain is. I mean, it could be like a Doctor Doom, who they have the rights to now.
Sure.
It could be Annihilus, who's a creature from the Negative Zone, I believe. That's just giant bug. There's all sorts of crazy things they could do. But I'm just as curious as you are. I don't know what's going to happen, which makes me excited.
Okay, now this just popped in my head, and I apologize because I'm going to jump completely off.
I'm going to see if I can follow you for your thought process. Go ahead.
I'm going to try to follow this as well.
What can DC do to compete?
What DC can do to compete is just continue to make
I think I know how your thought
movies.
got there. You were thinking of Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is in Universal. Universal is like DC to Disney. And there you go.
She's not wrong.
What they need to do is continue to make just good movies and not really worry what Marvel's doing.
I feel like DC kind of shot the load. They put all these... They did. They put all these people and all these these villains in movies, and they've stumbled along the way. Have you seen Shazam?
Yes.
Yes, it was
Shazam's
really good. It was really good.
It was
really good. A really solid movie. They need to just stay like that. Make just good movies. Aquaman. Did you guys see Aquaman?
No, we're waiting until it comes on HBO.
I wasn't the biggest Aquaman fan, but there were a lot of things to like. So
I like Jason Momoa. I've always enjoyed him.
Calm down.
No, okay, hang on.
Calm down.
Listen to me. You both will appreciate this. I enjoy him. I do not. He's not someone that is my type.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Would you like me to tell you who's my type?
No, I don't want to hear this at all.
I will gladly tell you who's my type.
And moving on.
Captain America.
All right.
Dr. Stephen Strange.
Obviously, yes.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. DC's got a lot of like interesting stuff that could be in the works. So they've got the Joker movie that's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually isn't going to, supposedly is just going to be its own thing. It's not even going to be related to anything else. So we'll see how that goes.
So no correlation with Heath Ledger.
Correct. No correlation with Heath Ledger. No correlation with
Jared Leto.
None of that. Like it's its own little thing.
Yeah.
So they're doing that. They've got a Birds of Prey movie coming out with Margot Robbie.
Oh, I love her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We actually really liked her in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, she was probably one of the best parts of Suicide Squad. They've got Wonder Woman, a sequel coming out to that.
It's my girl.
Smart.
They have a Batman movie with Twilight Group playing.
I'm not stoked for that.
I do like the director though. Matt Reeves is a really good director.
Mm-hmm.
He did the last two Apes movies, which were really good.
And like I told you, I have to keep an open mind now.
Yeah,
I have to.
And they have the Suicide Squad, which is pseudo sequel reboot, but it's being directed by James Gunn.
Is it getting like retconned or just completely overhauled?
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. All I know is that James Gunn is in it or doing the directing, and I really enjoyed both Guardians movies.
Yeah.
So my point being is they got a lot of stuff coming out that seems kind of interesting. What they really just need to do is make good movies. I don't think they should be building towards any sort of shared universe. I think they can hint at it, but the problem with the previous DC films, amongst a boatload of things, is that they were too worried about setting up what was coming out instead of making a good film.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's my opinion. What were you going to ask me, Kate?
What do you think of Kristen Wiig's villain in Wonder Woman 2?
Oh, in Wonder Woman. That's a very interesting villain. I believe it's she's playing Cheetah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheetah Rivera?
Oh my God.
I don't know what to make of that.
That's
Cheetah
the
is
second act twist. It's singing Cheetah Rivera.
I don't know what to make of that. Cheetah is a very interesting villain to try to portray on screen. If for those that don't know, she literally looks like a cheetah.
Like the remake of Cats that's coming out, maybe?
Yeah,
a crossover?
Oh, no.
Oh, geez. What do you guys think of that?
Oh, God, that scared me half to death.
No.
No?
Number one.
No.
I was disturbed watching that
I'm not
trailer.
a fan of the musical, number one.
Okay.
So to put it on the screen, I'm a very harsh critic when it comes to musicals because the real thing is the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it on the screen, historically, it does not do as well because you're not casting singers.
Right.
You're casting A-list actors who can sort of keep a tune. There's been very few exceptions with that. So then you not only do a musical, but a dancing musical about cats, which the topic, the subject matter is interesting, based off T.S. Eliot. But the big reaction that we've gotten from the theater people we know that have watched the trailer has been that they're very disappointed that it's CGI.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the show you're just wearing a leotard and some fur,
Right.
But it looked very strange to me. I almost I saw a screenshot of it and I went, oh, they're not done with the movie yet. They still have to edit.
Yeah.
What is that term when it looks like not real, but not? I forget what that term is called. I'll have to think of it. It's like when you Uncanny Valley. Are you familiar with that? Uncanny Valley.
Mm-mm.
It's basically when
Sounds
you
like a place to live.
It's basically when you look at something and you're like, this is all on screen and it's obviously, put together well, but there's something off. Like there's a little thing that's off where it doesn't make it look real enough. So for instance, when you watch the old King Kong films, he's moved the gorilla moves around, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can emote, but you're like, there's something off. Like he's not, the stop motion doesn't work as well as it should.
Right.
That's what I get when I'm watching like Cats, or when you watch like, I don't know.
That's the feeling I get having been around Patrick for these past
You're like, something's off. He's not a real human.
Oh, you did.
He's a
Your
monkey.
voice.
Oh my God.
Talk in your other voice.
Wait. Bring Bob Disney back.
Wait a minute. My opinion, and this is just my opinion, is I say this to Kate all the time, and I'm going to say it to you right now. Kate, can you please tell me the plot of Cats?
Yes, I would love to tell you.
Go on.
I would like to know this too, actually.
This is sponsored by the Vacationeer Travel Agency, number one. Number two, the plot. There's cats.
Mm-hmm.
Being cats.
Yep.
Singing about cats.
Got it.
If they sing well enough,
Mm-hmm.
they get to die.
Okay.
Because one really old cat is going to pick that cat to die and get to ride on a really cool cat saucer, like a UFO.
Okay.
Wait,
up
is this,
to
are you
heaven.
being serious?
I'm being dead serious right now.
Okay.
I mean,
That is
I'm
the plot
using
to
layman's
Cats.
terms, but yeah, that's the plot to
That's
Cats.
the plot to Cats.
Well, I'm looking at the casting, and you got real actors here, but then you got singers as well. It's James Corden, Judi Dench. Jason Derulo's a good singer. Idris Elba, I have no idea if he can sing.
No
He's
idea.
actually a
Probably
DJ.
not.
Jennifer Hudson's a good singer. Ian McKellen, I have no idea if he can sing.
He was in
Who cares?
Beauty and the Beast as
Who cares?
Cogsworth. I love him.
Who cares?
Taylor Swift is in it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
Rebel Wilson. I don't know. Yeah, it just looked real strange. I was kind of freaked out when I first saw the
The
trailer.
only part of the trailer that I was actually like, this could be good, is the one girl who's playing the white cat, and
Oh,
she
boy.
is a trained ballerina.
Oh, okay.
Like look up her biography. She is legit. So like, there's no singing involved with that character. She's just there to dance, and she was the best part of the trailer, in my opinion. Jennifer Hudson, I think, is miscast because that cat is supposed to be somebody that is older, that has been through
Memory?
some tough shit, that nobody's been kind to her, that no one has given her help, and she is not a good person, but they pick her, spoiler alert, they pick her anyway to be the cat to be resurrected because she's been through so much.
And when it's done as a Broadway show, that's usually the older actress in the company that's can sing really well but is past her prime.
Oh, that seems like a very big miscasting then.
So
unless they're rewriting the character.
Which is possible.
Could be. In my mind, that's Judi Dench. Like, that should have been Judi Dench as that character, but
She's too busy.
whatever, we can do it.
Okay, I'll take it.
Fine. I mean, she's still in the show. Is there Taylor Swift is like stunt casting to me. I don't
To sell tickets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love James Corden. Totally on board with that. Who else? Ian McKellen, I love.
Yeah.
Rebel Wilson, I tolerate. Like, she's funny.
I don't want to see her in a leotard.
And you can see her cat boobies.
I don't think anyone's in a leotard though.
It's all CGI. Well, it's not
Yeah,
all
it's just
CGI, but mostly CGI.
Yeah, inserted their face on these. I mean, it is very. I was disturbed watching that trailer.
So was the
I
internet.
didn't know what to make. Yeah.
Yeah. How did we get there? We were talking about something else when we got to the cats.
Yeah. How did we get to
But
cats?
back to Epcot.
No. No, we were talking about one of the villains, I think, and oh boy, I can't remember.
Oh, Cheetah.
Cheetah.
Cheetah,
Thank
that's how we
you.
got there.
Cats,
Got
yeah.
it. Okay.
You know what? It's funny. Whenever I do these spin-off shows, the places I end up in conversations, I will literally call it out in the show. I'll be like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
But it's just having a conversation, really. Like, this is how normal conversations end up going. At least most of mine. Maybe not all. Maybe not Patrick. Patrick's probably come out with like weird voices.
No,
and
okay, well that's true.
impersonations.
But
and-
my coworkers always say we need a concept bubble for how we got to where we are.
Yeah.
Right.
At least like a 6-step process. How did you get here?
We do that all the time.
Here's a question for you, because going back to Disney, since you are like you're doing the Disney pod,
Yeah.
you kind of, in a way, promote Disney.
Yeah.
Are you like on board with all Disney things? Are you like now like I'm Disney for life, so I support everything we do at Disney?
I mean, a couple of the decisions about rides they close or properties they're going to include, you kind of, okay, I'll see what they're up to. But
Well, I'm saying even overall, like Disney.
oh, you mean like live action movies?
Live action movies
no,
and like
no.
Okay.
We recently reported that Bob Iger's salary was $65 million, and that one of Roy Disney's granddaughter,
The heir apparent.
Roy Disney's granddaughter went in, did a tell-all exclusive where the people working at Disneyland are going home and eating out of dumpsters because they don't make enough money. But then there's Bob Iger making $65 million. So yeah, it is tough to look at the money that, Kate's talking about, the thousands of dollars that people spend. They work really hard. They spend money to go on vacation. And then there's the CEO of Disney who rakes in $65 million a year. That's hard. That's really hard to wrap your brain around.
I got the quote, Disney has added more than 70,000 jobs during Mr. Iger's tenure, has made historic investments to expand earning potential, but had implemented an hourly minimum wage of $15.
Right. Yeah.
And are spending $150 million on education initiatives. So this actually, what I'm reading right here was that the Disney college program that actually was offered at my school.
Mm-hmm.
You guys familiar with that?
Yes,
we are.
Yeah. I almost did it.
We have had a number of young people in our area that have gone and done that.
Yeah, and for I think the most part, they've been very happy with it.
Yeah,
I've always heard good things. Like, it's like a cool experience, and you're in like the dorms or whatever. But I don't think they pay you very much, but they take it all out of your, like the dorms and all that, and your food are taken all out of your salary, so you're just basically living and working.
Yeah.
It's just hard to imagine somebody making $65 million a year.
Yeah,
that's just hard to wrap your brain around.
Yeah, and then like some of the things they've done with the reboots and the revivals, it's like, why? Like, okay, we'll give you Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite movies of all time for Disney. And when they remade it, when they announced it, I was so excited because yes, like I love the musical, but let's put it on the screen. But again, like I already said, they cast people that couldn't sing.
They wanted to sell tickets. And it didn't have the same kind of magic. I think the same exact thing is happening with Lion King right now. Oh,
absolutely.
We haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it, but I've watched a lot of reviews of people that I trust. So when they first started doing these remakes, live action, I was on the show and I go, they're just printing money.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best idea. Yeah. This is the best idea ever. Do this live action, update the songs with new voices, remake it scene for scene. You've got it. And then now what I've seen in these past couple of years as I see the public's kind of turning on this stuff.
Yeah, they are.
Because like Beauty and I believe the 3 movies that came out this year were Lion King, Dumbo, and Aladdin. And all those were rated rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm seeing is some of them, they're making like weird choices, but like, especially Lion King, everyone that I've listened to that I trust the opinion of has said, it's literally so soulless that it doesn't resonate at all. Like, this movie is just like, it'll make a ton of money, but it'll be a blip in history because there's nothing that they're doing other than remaking it scene for scene.
Yeah.
Right.
And it feels literally just like a money grab.
Oh, yeah,
or
completely.
if they don't make it scene for scene, people are mad.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why are you changing it?
Yeah. Don't mess
So
with
there's
something.
really, they have such a small percentage that they're going to be successful.
Yeah. Well,
interesting.
I'm going to turn this around on you.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously into the comic books, into the history of this stuff. In your opinion, has Disney helped or hurt the Star Wars franchise?
Ooh, interesting question. So I'm not the big Star Wars guy, just so you know.
All right.
I actually
Is it Rug
pretty
Boy?
ambivalent.
It's Rug Boy, isn't it?
Rug Boy and Imran like Star Wars way more. I'm pretty ambivalent with Star Wars. What I will say is what they've done with the brand is they've tried to make it like Marvel. In that they have the big tentpole films. So Star Wars Episode 7, 8 is basically like their Avengers movies.
Yeah.
And what they were doing in between was with the Solo and Force Awakens was like their side stories. So they would do big tentpole film, side story, big tentpole film, side story. And what seems to be the case is, first off, Disney's brought back Star Wars. So that's good. Like, people are talking about Star Wars again. But I think there's a lot of backlash in the fact that number one, it's Disney. Disney's just a very hot, divisive brand right now. I don't know if they've necessarily helped it. The thing that by trying to make it like Marvel and have release a lot is what Marvel has in its bag is years and years of stories that they can look back on, and it's easily able to make into something else. Star Wars doesn't have all that lore. Like, there's not a ton of things where you can go back and be like, we need to redo that storyline. So they're having to come up with this stuff on the fly, and they're kind of rushing it out.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like hurting the Star Wars brand. There's a certain level that people expect from Star Wars that I don't think Disney is providing right now. I think a lot of people are really mad after the last episode, and then after Solo, people are kind of just like, I don't know if we like Disney doing this.
Right.
So I don't know.
liked Solo a lot. I think we were among
I really
the
enjoyed
few
Solo.
that liked it a lot.
I do.
I liked
too.
Solo a lot. I did not. I watched what was the second one? Force Awakens or
Rogue One?
No, not Rogue One. I liked Rogue One. What was
Last
this
Jedi.
episode?
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I found Last Jedi to be really boring,
Yes.
but people were really mad after Last Jedi.
There's so many questions left that we hope they'd answer.
Well, but
they took a character, I guess, that a lot of people liked, and they kind of turned him on his head in a way that did not like.
Yeah, they took the canon stuff and they just said, well, we're not going to follow that. And
the whole theme of the movie was you got to forget about the canon, basically. Right.
And
it was like forget about the past.
But they're saying now with this last movie, we're going to come back to all that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I we'll see. I don't know. I'm curious to see how this all plays out because Disney owns like so much, and they're coming out with their streaming, but they own so many brands now with Star Wars, with Marvel, with their own animation, with Pixar, with Fox. They own National Geographic too. Like they own all the things that Fox had. Fox has Aliens, Simpson, like all these different brands.
Yeah.
Like they own a lot. It's interesting to see, the fans of all these brands, are they going to be still on board with Disney pumping this out, or is there this backlash? I don't know what's going to happen. So it's interesting because you guys are kind of, you're not obviously representing all of Disney, but you represent like an aspect of it that people like.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm all on board for seeing Marvel included as much as it can be in the parks. Obviously, there's restrictions, but I'm sure that there are people that are never going to want to see anything Marvel come into the parks because it's not what they know Disney to be. But
yeah, that'd be that. If I go to the parks and I see Marvel stuff, I will like it for sure. But it will be it's a little like, this is not what I remember Disney as.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like there's allusions to Broadway, and I was going to say that, like you were saying how they're remaking stuff and they're basing things off of old animated movies. Same thing is happening with Broadway, where all the new musicals are based off of movies. There's nothing original coming out, and the ones that are don't do well.
Same with movies,
right? And
did the Lion King one do well?
The musical, it's still running. It's not.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen it. In my opinion, it's not the best musical out there. I thought Beauty and the Beast was way more successful, and they've done a couple other musicals, Disney, like they did Tarzan, Mary Poppins, Little Mermaid, Hunchback. But I think that people are wanting original content, movies and in musicals. And you look at Hamilton, which was okay. It was based off somebody's biography of Alexander Hamilton, but it still was an original idea, and it did so well. And it's like, people do want that. Please stop remaking things and make some more original content.
Yeah, that seems to be the case when we talk about movies in our podcasts. There's a lot of people, and Rug Boy's one of them, and even Imran will be like, I want to see some original stuff. Like, there's almost this kind of, I don't know if Marvel's necessarily felt it yet, but the industry in general is getting a lot of like, okay, we're getting tired of all like the remakes and let's make gigantic blockbusters of IP that we've seen for X amount of years. Where's the new stuff?
Yeah.
What's the original stuff?
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out.
It's going to be interesting. It really is. The next couple of years are going to be very interesting for all of that.
Do you think that they're going to remake Daredevil?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Daredevil on Netflix.
Yeah, we did too.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought all 3 seasons were awesome. But yeah, I've already read stuff that Fahey. So they're just waiting on the Netflix contracts to expire.
Yeah.
And Daredevil is way too popular of a character for them not to want to make a movie with.
They'll probably
unfortunately, I don't think they'll do it with Charlie Cox.
bring back Ben Affleck.
No. I like Charlie Cox.
He's not doing
Charlie
anything
Cox
right now.
too.
He doesn't have any big superhero plans.
I think he's like in rehab, isn't he? Or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
Bring back Jen Garner.
Oh God!
Don't mention those two in the same
Patrick's
sentence.
favorite actress
That's
ever.
That's not true. That's
you like Jen Garner?
No. You know what I like Jen Garner? When she's not Jen Garner. Seriously, in movies, like in television series, I think she's fantastic. And then you watch her be interviewed, you're like, nope.
No?
Nope.
I don't really follow her personally, so I don't know.
Nope.
Yeah,
And if you're listening, I apologize.
She is one of my very loyal listeners.
She was on the last spin-off show.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. I think we just lost our $1,000 a month Patreon
man.
donation she was giving us.
I do think she's adorable.
When she's not opening her mouth.
Shut up.
Well, let's wrap this up here. Well, actually, let me ask you guys, how are you guys on time?
Patrick, that is a question for you.
I got to get up in the morning.
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't.
so let's
If
wrap this
Patrick's
up.
done, I'm good to go for another 3 hours.
Well, let's wrap this up. What I usually do when I wrap these up is I give you guys a chance to kind of just plug anything, really. So you can plug your podcast, you can plug your travel expertise, so you can plug anything. So the floor is kind of yours.
All right, I'll go first because mine's quick. I do this because I like it. I like to make my wife laugh.
Oh,
And that's it.
nice.
That's all I got.
What do you do? I don't know what you do.
I work in computers. That's a legitimate question.
I do this.
I do this, and then I come up with stupid characters that make my wife laugh. That's it. That's all I do.
There you go.
That's
That's
all
good.
I do. And now for the next 15 minutes, Miss Kate. Go on.
I was born in Jamestown, New York. No, I was born in Erie, actually, which is a funny story. I live here now.
not funny.
Okay, yeah, anyway. I'm a Taurus.
You're an agent.
I'm a Taurus on my horoscope.
Oh,
Yeah, what did you think I said?
tourist.
I'm a tourist. Sometimes I'd like to be a tourist. Anyway, I'm a travel agent, and we are here promoting basically our brand new podcast called Earful, a Disney World podcast, and that covers Disney World news clips, rumors, new attractions, anything surrounding the parks and the hotels. And we also give our advice on how you can make your trip better. And
is this usually a weekly show?
it is a weekly show produced
go.
every Tuesday morning and once a week. And that's kind of it for now. We'll see where that goes.
Nice.
In the meantime, I teach.
I'm sure there's old See Here's the Thing episodes that
There
people
are
can dig up
old
too.
ones
Plenty.
still out there. Yep, definitely. We had, over 80, I think.
And actually,
Oh.
I don't know if you've mentioned this, but you're also a travel agent.
I'm a travel agent.
Oh, is that right?
Have I brought that up at all during this recording? I'm a travel agent through the Vacationeer travel agency that can help you book a trip to Disney World, Disneyland, Universal Studios,
Cruises.
SeaWorld, Disney Cruise Line, a random hotel in New York City. I mean, really, I can do quite a bit. So you can look
do it
me
all.
up on Facebook or on Twitter at Disney Vacations by Kate. That's
Disney Vacations by
me.
Kate. Awesome.
Short to the
Awesome.
point. Yeah.
Well, guys, I didn't get to hear a ton of Patrick's voices. I'm a little sad about that.
This will be on part 2 of the spinoff.
Oh,
But
dear
we can
God.
definitely do this again. This isn't a one-time thing, so I'll have you guys back on again.
We
and-
won't talk anything about Disney
yeah,
whatsoever.
next time maybe we'll just avoid all of
I would
Disney
love
and talk
that.
about other
Yeah,
things.
because I mean, like
Yeah.
Disney, like we said at the beginning, it can really polarize people. And if people are like, no, I hate Disney World, they won't listen to this. But
Oh,
just
yeah.
skip to like an hour and 22 minutes in, which is when we start talking about Marvel.
I like that you're telling people advice on to when to skip to at the
Yeah.
end of the episode.
End of it.
If you're not a Disney
Hey, you
fan.
would have liked this if you would have skipped to here. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, next time we'll talk about CrossFit
There you
and
go.
working out.
Oh, that's
And-
equally as polarizing. Well, maybe
You're
not
right.
as
Is it?
polarizing.
You're right.
It's kind of polarizing. Yeah, yeah.
What's not
It is.
polarizing that we can talk about?
Politics.
Oh,
Politics,
I don't
No, all right.
think so.
All right,
Food
guys.
and
I
alcohol.
think-
That's
Food,
not
yeah, food and
polarizing.
alcohol
You're
is not
hungry.
polarizing at all.
Yeah.
That's
What are you
right.
gonna go eat?
Hey, I'm gonna eat. I don't know what I'm gonna eat.
We really appreciate you letting us come on and talk your ear off. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun for us.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys making the time. So
Yeah.
This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement.
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at the History of Bad Ideas. But if you like podcasts roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies,
TV. I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners, so they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes,
Stitcher,
Facebook,
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
Damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.